at the sky, the sun won't ask for what if it can rise. Look at your mind and ask yourself what keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lies that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky, the sun won't ask, the sun won't ask the world if it can rise. Look at the sky, the sun won't ask for what if it can rise. Look at your mind and ask yourself what keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lies that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky.
Welcome back to the quarterfinal playoffs of the Platinum Division for Blue Otter League. I am your color caster, Eternal Cries, with my co-host in chat, play-by-play caster Ra. Ra, you excited for this matchup tonight?
As we both know, I think we're absolutely ecstatic for tonight's games. We have the two teams that we've both kind of been rooting for throughout, and also we've seen some amazing stuff come out of both teams. So tonight is by far my most excited for, at the moment, best of 5. So yeah, I cannot wait to cast these games.
And what's interesting already is it seems like CB Ruby was already paying attention to last week's stream when Absolute 3-0 their opposition because they've taken away Viger. That was one of the main points they had in that bot lane for Absolute. So by removing that out of the equation, don't even let them touch it. We got to make him, like I said last week, force him on an AD carry. Make him play an AD carry.
Yeah, and he just does not like those AD carries. And it looks like there is some target banning going on. The Soraka was a problem as well. And the Ornn taken out, obviously, last week. Mercy Hawk, fantastic performances on the Ornn in game 1 and 2. Dominating the top lane, even though we said every game he's playing weak side. He's playing weak side. He ended up making it a strong side for himself. So a good ban in the third phase as well. And on the other side, Absolute banning out Karma, Aatrox, and Seraphine. So quite standard bans. And we've got the Ahri coming out for Absolute in first pick, and Ruby picking up the Karthus, and potentially Yasuo.
I mean, Karthus is a strong jungler. He's gotten the buffs with the latest patch that came out, 12.7, excuse me. So standalone, he is very strong. As long as he stays ahead, he's always going to be a threat. The problem is if he falls behind or if he gets invaded early in the jungle, then again, you know, that becomes an issue for the side of CB Ruby. However, he can be used in the bot lane as an APC as long as he has some type of engaged support. So I'm curious if that's going to be a flex pick for them or if that's just going to be the main jungler for the side of Enchanter.
Yeah, and yeah, CB Ruby have two very flexible picks at the moment. Absolute going for more of a linear draft. We know Xayah being locked in, going to be in that bot lane, and Ahri always played in the mid lane, except for my odd solo queue game where you get the weird AD Ahri bot lanes. With Karthus and Lucian, you've got Lucian top, Lucian can mid, Lucian can ADC, Karthus can mid, rarely, but he can jungle and AD as well. And it looks like Ruby are going to continue with this theme of not giving Absolute much information. And they've locked in Sion third for Absolute. And now Ruby are potentially looking to counterpick that as a hovering Darius and Volibear.
Darius does get locked in. Darius is a very strong solo laner just by himself, so I expect him to win this lane in the Sion unless there's some support from the side of Absolute. Darius should win this lane and constantly push him off the wave. But he wins the lane. He doesn't exactly win the game. Sion is always just a beefy tank that scales well later in the game. So as long as he doesn't fall too far behind, he can still be a viable threat for Mercy Hawk and essentially be that frontline disengage the team needs.
And we've all seen the Baus play Sion multiple times into losing lanes for
Mhm.
Sion, and he can always come out ahead. Hullbreaker and Prowler's Claw are two disgusting items that nobody enjoys playing against, and Sion could just build pretty much anything and be happy. So, while Darius can also build that Hullbreaker, he's much more likely to go into a standard route, whereas Sion will have a big split push pressure later in the game once Darius can't just stack his bleed and one-shot him. So be interested to see how that plays out as we see some more bans coming up. Rakan obviously banned out so it doesn't get paired with the Xayah, having those inbuilt bonuses for the pair, and Kha'Zix, and on the side of Absolute banning out Volibear and Leona.
And yeah, it seems like we're possibly suspected that the Karthus will be jungle, so Leona, again, that tanking, that other front line that they need, essentially disengaged. That way the Xayah and Ahri safe. Ahri with every kill gets a reset on R, so she repositions, gets that other charm that you need, get another kill. So you essentially need someone there to keep her safe and allow her to basically just pop off in these team fights. We haven't seen the counter pick mid, so that's why CB Ruby decided to pick their ADC here. Well, actually, no, I take that back, because if that's mid, then I think it would be Lucian mid, potentially.
Yeah. I believe that is most likely, unless they're going for some rogue misfortune support. But Lucian into Ahri within itself, obviously Lucian was originally brought into the mid lane to counter these kind of bursty mages, because AD champions do a better job in the early game of trading, and it does allow to shut down these mid laners who want to get to level 6. So a lot of Lucian's damage comes between the levels of 3 and 5. And Rengar being hovered for Absolute here. Now, I don't know if you've seen Rengar. It looks like it's going to be swapped out, but Rengar terrorizes he terrorizes my solo queue games at the moment, and I can't handle it. And I'd like to see from Ruby here an engaged support. Obviously, one thing they're lacking a little bit of is safety for Karthus, and having this tanky Nautilus or something in the bot lane will give him a lot of pressure if he does gank, but also if they invade, it will, it allows them to kind of counteract that. And the Blitzcrank being hovered right now, but what is it going to be?
I think it might be Blitzcrank here. And yeah, it will be.
Okay. It is. Okay. I like the look of that. That's exactly what I want to see. Sona, obviously, being the lowest health champion at level 1 in the game, meaning that she's very susceptible to these early game hooks, and that is going to put out a lot of pressure, especially with the misfortune, because she can go press the attack and deal a lot of damage. But yeah, for the side of CB Ruby, the only thing that I'm concerned about right now is this jungle. Obviously, we saw Angry Cookie take over the jungle in previous games, and while Enchanter is on that Karthus, that is their only ability power damage. So if Karthus does fall behind, they may struggle to break through the Sion.
And while that's true, checking some of the stats, the player in the league that has the most kills per game, the least deaths per game, and, well, Scuttle doesn't really matter so much, but the fact that it has the most kills and the least deaths is actually Enchanter, the jungler for CB Ruby. And looking at both these teams on paper, Absolute is easily a top 3 team, at least based on stat-wise. CB Ruby is also a top 3 team, and the only team that actually is ahead of Absolute in far as potential for ending games quickly and taking objectives is CB Ruby. So this is potentially a number 1 and number 2 seed team facing each other. Unfortunately, we're seeing them this early on in the quarterfinals. I'd love to see these guys in the finals. That'd be a fantastic series. But, that's just the way it works sometimes. So I expect this to go a full 5 games. I don't expect this to be a 3-0 or 3-1. I think 3-2 for the side of Absolute, but I would not be surprised if it's a 3-2 for the side of Ruby.
Yeah, and I've got to give it to Absolute. I was so convinced at the start of when we saw the brackets and everything, I was so convinced Ruby had it in the bag, and then Absolute just decided that they were going to show up. They showed us what they could do last week, and this whole week I've been worried for CB Ruby. But while I will say, I do think as well it's going to go to a best of 5. I do think it's going to go 3-2 to the side of Ruby. And the only way, as I said, speaking to these guys moments before they started, I said the only way anyone's going to change my mind if Absolute lock in AP Twitch. In which case, they win. I'm 100% convinced. But yeah, no, I think Ruby do have this in the bag. I like their draft for the first game. It's very well thought out. But Absolute at the same time, Angry Cookie, great Graves. The rest of the team plays fantastically around Angry Cookie. And like you said, Enchanter as well.
Right.
Fantastic player, currently the best ranked jungler in the league for kills and deaths. So it's really anyone's game. I can't put my finger on who will win.
It's going to be interesting because I said it again. It's like how we saw last week, right? These junglers are going to be essentially the decision makers and the playmakers for both of these teams. Now, if Caddy can get some hooks on Blitzcrank and get some pick potential, that allows him to essentially just win these fights. But if that Blitzcrank, hook misses, that allows Cyan to alternate that team because Blitzcrank they don't have exactly the best disengage besides Ruby. So the fact that you have Cyan allows you to be that engager. But again, it all matters is if Caddy can land hooks and essentially keep Miss Fortune safe. Karthus can and just die. Like, that's fine. He can still pump out a large amount of damage. So it's not unreasonable for him to do that. But I think game 1 goes on the side of absolute, in my opinion.
Okay, well, I will say that I kind of agree with that. The only thing I will be a little bit worried about is the Ahri in the mid lane. Reese's Cup will definitely struggle if Kuma plays well, because he doesn't have a high pressure jungler. Like one of the things Ahri thrives and Lucian struggles with is having a jungler with CC who will come into your lane and shut you down early on, which will allow the AP mage to get ahead. And that way, that's how you put Lucian behind. But there isn't much pressure from Angry Cookie in terms of CC. As long as Kuma dodges the charms, he should be able to dominate this mid lane. So whilst the junglers are the decision makers and playmakers a lot of the time, I think that a lot of this game is going to be riding on Kuma's shoulders. And if Kuma does well, I think that CB Ruby take this game on.
Okay, that's fair. I think it kind of goes on jungle in the bot lane, but we'll see how it plays out in game 1.
Well, with that being said, we're going to take a hot minute, get some refreshments, guys, because this is going to be a long and fantastic series between the Titan Destroyers, Absolute, and my personal favourites, CB Ruby. So meet us back here in just a couple of moments to see the start of game 1.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me f***ed up, overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you would shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back.
And welcome back to the quarterfinals between Absolute Esports and CB Ruby Game 1. As we see a 5-man invade from the side of Ruby. Obviously, they have the stronger level 1, but will they spot this out?
Very, very classic.
They have
for
not.
a Blitzcrank to invade. The sweeper being used very early there, a bit preemptive potentially. Nobody would have been able to ward that in time. And obviously, Absolute with the counter. But they, you know, it's a sign. You never really invade fully into a Sion because one 5-man knock-up is all it takes. That decimating smash is destructive when it knocks up 5 people. And it looks potentially like Mercy Hawk is being a little bit naughty here in the early game. We're just going to wait for this to play out, but I just want to talk about a couple of things quickly. We were talking that Big Daddy Colton has teleport. What are your thoughts on that, my good friend?
Not a big fan of it, just because you're relying so much on Sona to heal you up, but obviously the song's gonna be the main point of contention. So for the side of Ruby, you know, ignite, heal, they can feel more comfortable. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan because you essentially have to play back more in that lane. Because if you get caught out by Blitz, you're essentially dead level 1.
Yeah, and that was exactly what we were thinking as well. But I guess it may not matter if this decimating smash lands as they're expecting it to. And this is big from Mercy Hawk. Doesn't look like Darius has communicated anything yet. And here we go. The decimating smash onto the Misfortune. The instant exhaust onto Noah as well. And that is disgraceful. The hook comes onto the Sona, but doesn't manage to get around the tower for long enough. Caddy's had his shield blown as well. And that is first blood over to Absolute with a very nice bit of cheese there.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, they are Absolute already giving top lane. They know Sign they're playing weak side. We'll get this bot lane ahead. So the fact that they got first blood over, unfortunately, you know, straight up Merkin got it on Sona. That's not the issue though. The issue is this Misfortune. You're gonna hit levels earlier than her. She's out of lane. Fantastic first blood for the side of Absolute.
That was really great, and like you said, playing weak side top lane has never been an issue for Mercy Hawk. It seems like he thrives in these positions where, you know, maybe mind controls the other top laner in a little bit and picks up a lead elsewhere on the map. Obviously getting the assist gives him a bit of gold as well, but it's just down to Mercy Hawk right now to make sure he doesn't throw anything away after getting a great start. But Darius with the full Conqueror stack takes a tower shot. And this is exactly what I mean. Mercy Hawk is mind controlling champions into these towers. Darius being level 3 now. Very scary. Across the map right now we have the Lucian in the mid lane putting out some good pressure onto the Ahri. Has a 7 CS lead right now. Going to be leveled out just a little bit once she manages to recover. But priority for Carver to take the scuttle.
Yeah, and it looks like they might try and get Sign on top lane. So they're going to rely on Darius essentially pulling him in. He has the wave. He's got to clear that out, so they're waiting for Mercy Hawk to overextend here.
Yeah, and Mercy Hawk knows that something might be up. He's very aware of what's going on, but also there's not too much he can do about it because, yeah, the wave is coming into Darius. He has 7 CS, and there's the wall down. Instant flash from Mercy Hawk. Very good reaction time there to dodge the apprehend. And yeah, that's it. That's really good. 16-6 in the top lane right now.
Yeah, the gold difference essentially equates that, right? Got first blood bot lane, but over on the side of CB Ruby, even though they had first blood, Misfortune is actually double digits on the Xayah. So that's not exactly what you wanted, especially after picking up that early kill.
Yeah, and Zaya obviously not too strong until she gets a couple of items. Miss Fortune is definitely an early game champion, as martial arts for Yi right now is angry at the Scion for killing his bot laners, and he's got the fully stacked passive. The bleed has come through, gets a double hook there, does get the bleed onto the Scion, is going to take him down. It's a 1-for-1, but Angry Cookie, we spoke about him being the playmaker, getting up there, getting himself a kill, and Scion is as weak side as it gets, but it doesn't mean Angry Cookie has to be.
No, and the fact that, all right, cool, you get the kill over to Angry Cookie. Darius just burned both his sums. He's going to lose one wave potentially too. So honestly, I feel like that's still a win for the side of Absolute. You're putting the kills on your characters that you need, and Angry Cookie being one of the main playmakers for their side is exactly what you want early.
Yeah, and I like the fact that obviously Angry Cookie took the time, pushed in that wave to the tower, which is going to allow Scion a bit of safety. If anyone doesn't know how waves work, when they crash into the tower, if they're not cleared, by the time your own minions get there, it will start a counter push and work its way towards the enemy's tower, and that gives an opportunity to free. So Mercy Hawk going to be in a better position as well because of that play. Even though he dies, obviously, Scion has the good death ability, which allows him to die, clear waves, and set himself up for success from coming back alive. So great work there from the side of Absolute. 2-1 right now, but the gold lead actually just slightly edging over towards CB Ruby right now, and that is mainly coming from Darius and also a little bit from Lucian and Miss Fortune.
Yeah, and you just look at the mid lane too, just constantly these waves are being shoved in, and great counter pick from the side of Kuma on this Lucian. He's just essentially just doing damage is gets possibly caught out here.
And we see Angry Cookie, and here comes the Spirit Rush over the wall. Does he manage to get the charm though? The Ignite Electrocute procs instantly, and Kuma is taken down after just complimenting him for getting the waves into tower. A bit of overextension, warding on the wrong side of the map away from your jungler leads you to despair, and that is a pickup for Ari, and going to give her a chance to start pushing in these waves and dominating this lane a little more, as now Angry Cookie has found Karthus, but Darius is obviously there to give him some support, being a lot stronger than the Scion right now.
Yeah, not much he can really do about that. He submits defeat, lets him get the scuttle. As, yeah, you don't want to fight a strong level 5 Darius, especially when Scion's not that tanky. You don't have enough damage to deal with them. So yeah, just kind of give it over, reset. And yeah, I feel like Castle Crow's kind of shook again. I just complimented Kuma. Unfortunately, he dies, but very smart on Reese's. Did not burn Flash, just gets over the wall, gets a nice kill. Like you said, Electrocute comes out, and another assist from the side of Angry Cookie going into the 7 minutes in.
And that's fantastic as well. It's going to set the Graves up Angry Cookie, who is the playmaker, to potentially come middle again, because Ari has the ability to flash charm the Lucian once he uses that dash. So good chance here for them to set Kuma further behind. And now the Darius is in a 2v1 situation, gets the guillotine, gets the reset, the Triumph coming out on top of the double heal there, and martial arts for Yi doing absolute massive damage with the fully stacked bleed there. And yeah, the Scion is weak side. You can't play around them too much because Darius is in the position already to 2v1 situations if he is not in a super low health range already, as now Ruby taking the first dragon.
And that's the problem too, is if you're trying to survive, you still have Enchanter using this Requiem that will hit all members. So you essentially have to win it cleanly. If you have any members that are low health, they're just essentially going to be popped. And as this game goes on, Enchanter will continuously be strong on this Karthus pick. So you always have to keep that in the backside of your mind of, all right, we win this fight, but do we really win in the aftermath?
Yeah, and having that first strike as well. First strike giving you extra gold every time you damage a champion means that he can use his Requiem off cooldown, and even if he's not getting kills, the gold that he gets from damaging 5 champions at the same moment does generate 5 stacks of first strike, so it will allow him to farm a good amount of gold. This is why Karthus players take this rune, because that way you don't have to interact with champions at all. You become the ultimate farming machine and still have so much gold in your pockets as if you were killing people with the Requiem. So yeah, really great there. And yeah, Darius is a scary monster already. But yeah, it's not looking fantastic in the top lane, but the rest of the lanes are still looking, you know, perfectly fine right now.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, it's a pretty even game, 9 minutes in. And you know, talking about that first strike Karthus, I would rather have that than the whole funnel Yi strategy in the jungle. I'd rather have that.
Oh yeah, no, tell me about it. The only thing that I don't like is, do you remember when they had Nunu Karthus funnel strat?
Oh, please don't remind me of that whole.
So yeah, I'm glad that's obviously been taken out ever since the Nunu rework. And
Oh,
martial arts for
big
Yi there.
power
If that was
shot.
a knock-up, he was almost, yeah, that could have been it. That could have been the turnaround. And Mercy Hawk still putting up a fight, even when he's significantly behind. So you can't do too much in the ways of killing Sion without diving him under the tower. As a big hook comes in there, the Featherstorm comes in, and a big bullet time from Misfortune, but she's exhausted through the whole thing. And now Angry Cookie is here, does manage to take down the Sona from the Blitzcrank there. Caddy with a great pickup, and Misfortune and Blitzcrank walk out alive together, but Graves is on the chase. He has the collateral damage ready. If he can just find the Misfortune, there is a solid chance she dies, but if she manages to get out, and now Enchanter in a bit of a rough spot. A good dodge on the Charm there, the Spirit Rush coming out. Does get exhausted as well. The Ignite onto Enchanter, they really want him dead. Does not have the Requiem up just yet. And now it's going to be up in just 2 moments. Is it going to be able to cast in time? Doesn't use it. Does get healed up from the Sona. So a good pickup there. And Enchanter feeling a little overly aggressive. But you see Kuma and Caddy here looking for the Sona. Does get the hook. But actually there's Graves and Ari there as well. Now they're going to have to run for their lives as Angry Cookie jumps forward. Hits collateral damage. Actually, Sona steals it. A good crescendo there onto the Blitzcrank. But not enough. The right through comes down just to remove the chase. And another great pickup from Absolute, just walking around as a unit, protecting their squishy members, and they're getting stuff for it as well.
And that's smart rotations by the side of Absolute. All right, the bot lane, they know Carly's going to topside jungle, they get that aggression. All right, they just saw us topside, they know that Kuma and Blitzcrank might be invading our bot side jungle, they rotate to that, like you mentioned, as a unit, as a team. So the fact they capitalize on back-to-back plays, drop the rift, you get gold, you're essentially just put this even game a little bit in your favor. It's not completely out of the woods yet. Enchanter was breaking some ankles, so unfortunately Reese's did have to burn flash on Ari. But no, if you're on the side of Absolute, you take those. Those small little windows of opportunity will allow you to essentially get ahead, because if you fall behind, you fall behind extremely hard.
Yeah, and we don't want to see the Lucian fall behind. We were speaking about this beforehand, and Lucian either goes 5-0 or 0-5. Lucian really thrives on being ahead. He's a bully. That's what he likes to be. When he's behind, it is hard playing him. So the Ari already having that Ludens complete means that Lucian's going to have less and less autonomy and pressure coming into this mid game. But something we did speak about as well, Eternal, as something happens in the bot lane, is a bullet time comes onto the Sona. No attack with a clean kill there, taking him out just before Dragon in 50 seconds. Is this Dragon control? And that's what I wanted to speak about. Obviously, CB Ruby want to take Dragon control, as now Caddy doesn't manage to make anything happen.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, they want Dragon control. So this is something that they need to make sure they're very aware of. As Ruby get into these positions first, they can dominate these area of effect team fights.
Oh, he gets a nice little pull on Darius. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, look at that. As Sion's getting to the tanky point, he has that hull breaker completed now. So obviously in a much better position, and this is the control they need, but this is dangerous for Ruby. No bullet time, no Requiem, only has the culling. A good hook there onto the Ari, but the Spirit Rush comes through, doesn't manage to get anyone, and the Xayah trades onto the Blitzcrank. The culling comes through, no attack, going to go down to the Sona as well. The Lucian can't trade back, and now they are in absolute shambles. Enchanter and Kuma, just 2 of them left. I think you have to leave this alone. Take the L, get the lanes going, because Kuma, if you get caught here, this is going to be so dangerous. This could be game losing, and they are just going to walk away. The teleport comes through from the side into the mid lane just to make sure they can't get the wave in, and that's really smart from Mercy Hawk as well.
Oh, and he gets caught. He's slowed.
As the unstoppable onslaught comes through, and here we go. Lucian flashes out, the Requiem coming out as well, and a flash explosion from Sion taking down Kuma, and that is disgusting damage there, and the Requiem just not able to do enough to dissipate that time.
And we talked about Dragon Control, and that was the one thing I worried about CB Ruby. Where is your engage? Your main reliance is either on Darius or this Blitz hook is recently caught.
Very good Blitzcrank hook there, but is it going to be enough? The Ignite is ticking. Does go down to Enchanter in the end, but now will Enchanter fall? No, they're going to keep pushing forward onto Angry Cookie. Angry Cookie is looking dangerously low. One more Q will do it. Enchanter picking up a double, a triple kill, and suddenly Karthus is on the board and in the game. 3-1-1 after a great pickup from Absolute. They overextend and give all that money back to Ruby.
But they were forced to, because the thing is, Darius is getting so much solo time topside that he's essentially getting stronger and stronger. So they had to go, all right, those numbers down. We have to get this mid turret. We have to force it, because by the time we go to topside, it'll be too late. And for the side of CB Ruby, great capitalization. But again, you just mentioned it. Enchanter gets 3 kills on this Karthus. He's now back in the game. Yeah, Kuma is still, 0 and 3. He hasn't exactly had the best time mid lane. However, Darius and Karthus are ahead. Those are 2 champions by themselves that can 1v2, 1v3.
Yeah, and Karthus, obviously, it doesn't even matter. It's the same kind of thing as Sion, really. It doesn't matter if you kill them, because they'll be alive after death, and that is so scary when you have a Karthus now with the completed Leandries and Sorcerer Shoes. As a bullet time comes through from the Misfortune just to push out the Xayah there. But yeah, Darius up almost 1,000 gold, and the Karthus up 500 gold. So not massive leads right now, but still in a good spot to keep pushing themselves ahead, as there's only 100 gold between the teams at 15 minutes. This has to be one of the closest games at 15 we've seen so far. And yeah, this is it. Big Daddy Colton has the Featherstorm available. No bullet time, and you're going to have to use the Featherstorm nice and early there, but Big Daddy Colton going to be in a lot of trouble as a big double up comes through there from the Misfortune, getting her passive off on the tower beforehand just to do that extra bit of damage. And yeah, Big Daddy Colton maybe could have survived with an exhaust instead of the teleport, but we'll never know, as now they're just coming down to hold this bot wave.
Yeah, and that was the thing we talked about early on. Big Daddy Colton has teleport, doesn't have a heal or an exhaust or even a barrier even, so there's no way to protect himself. Lucian comes down, lands at Ignite. Yeah, you don't have the bullet time by Misfortune, but it doesn't matter. Kuma can do a large amount of damage by himself. He already goes back, buys that Sheen with the Gale Force. Now he's going to hit even harder in this next round of fight. And yeah, just a great job rotating down there, essentially pushing that mid wave, go down, and good kill up by the pickup of CB Ruby.
That is a great pickup. I just want to point out that Karthus just uses Requiem again. And for anyone who didn't quite catch how much gold he got from using that, he got 111 gold at that time just from pressing R. And that is on a 120-second cooldown. So 2-minute cooldown for 120 gold, which obviously increases throughout the game. But Angry Cookie picking up Enchanter right now, and that's a great pickup. One more shot and a shutdown there from Angry Cookie. And you see how much damage the collateral damage does, as well as end of the line against the wall and the Eclipse. So yeah, a massive burst from Graves there, and a great shutdown, giving him 600 gold.
That's just great reading, knowing where the enemy jungler is supposed to be going. As you see Darius slowly pushing in and beating up the Sion. But he's tanky.
He is very tanky, and a good charm onto Kuma there. And Angry Cookie picks up another kill, getting himself into the driver's seat, taking the wheel from Ruby and saying, no, this is my game, I am driving. And they get the bot tower as well. So Angry Cookie making some great plays with Reese's Cup, and the two of them together right now performing fantastically.
Yep, Dragon, next Dragon's up in 45, so of course they're going to reset. They're going to go back in that lane, and yeah, if you're the side, all right, you still have everything available from the side of Ruby. You still have everything that's available from the side of Absolute. The only difference is Sion's TP is not up just quite yet. So as of right now, CB Ruby should have advantage on this Dragon, should be able to establish vision control, and the fact that it's only for 24 seconds, they should have priority on this starting.
Yeah, and we spoke about that we want to see Sion if they don't have this initial control, throwing himself into this top lane, knowing that Darius is middle right now, and allowing him to get plates, no plates anymore, but get towers and get a lot of pressure in this top side if they're going to be trading it for dragons. But right now it doesn't look like they are, and a great hook onto Reese's Cup, instantly blown up as now a guillotine comes through, a 3-man stack, the bullet time raining down on Absolute, but it's not enough yet. As Graves walks away, a Requiem comes through. That's going to take out at least 2. No, it only takes out the one. The Graves manages to get the heal, and no attack flashes forward. Get the shutdown onto the Graves as well. Kuma with the Gale Force taking down Xayah, and it's just Mercy Hawk left alive. He is going to walk it out, but this means second Dragon for the side of Ruby, and a fantastic team fight. And Caddy putting in massive work, instantly destroying the Ahri.
Yeah, just I said this was the one thing they need is those pick potential. You find Ahri, nice double up from Misfortune, comes out instantly, wipes her off the map, cannot even use her ultimate to escape. And again, I said you win these fights, but how much do you win in the aftermath? Enchanter has Requiem, comes up, instantly gets rid of Sona. Big Daddy Colton has to flash out. Will you flash out? Does Solar Gale Force on Kume, goes in, eliminates Colton. Angry Cookie, you got Darius, good job, but unfortunately it's still a 3v1, 4v1 situation. Eliminates him, so 4-1 and a Dragon to almost 20 minutes in for the side of CB Ruby as they are ahead 1.4k.
And another big swing just before that fight. Absolute were up about 1,000 gold, so another great swing. Still very close coming into the 20-minute mark here. But let's have a look through the gold Eternal and see exactly what's going on in each of the lanes and where all the performances are coming from.
So we knew Darius had a large amount, the CS had a lot of time solo lane. So right now he does have the most gold in the game at 7.4k, but not far behind is actually no attack on Misfortune, 7.4k with herself. Nice 4-2-2 with that shutdown as well. Darius a little caught out here.
Yeah, Darius trying to use the Decimate to get out, doesn't even manage to get the Guillotine to come through. Angry Cookie picking up another assist there, as Big Daddy Colton does pick up that kill, and 2-2-2 now on the board, so not looking too terrible, but doesn't have the Man Immune completed yet. Will be a lot stronger when that happens, but they are going to do this Baron. It is currently a 5 versus 3 situation, but this is where Carthus thrives. He loves being in the pit with everyone around him. The bullet time coming through as well, and that is a great stop as Kuma walking up, but it's going to be too much damage as the whole of Absolute have to walk away. That's a lot of wasted time, and Kuma picked up a lot of free minions for that, and he's going to get mid-tower as well. Are they going to get any more? It looks like they're just going to make sure everyone takes their time recalling and get vision control of this Baron. A great counterplay there for Ruby to just make sure the objective stays alive.
I was just about to mention that the ward that Mercy Hawk just destroyed has been sitting there for about the 13-14 minute mark, and every time they've walked up to do a Rift Herald or any kind of objective, they've instantly spotted them out. So thankfully Mercy Hawk finally removed it, so at least they have a little protection on that blue side jungle. But I mean, yeah, just that Requiem combination, like you mentioned earlier, that first strike hitting it gold, constantly using it on cooldown, again uses it, eliminates a large amount of their health, so they can't even try to attempt the Baron, and that's where this comp shines. They can easily push you off objective and have either Darius or Lucian essentially solo 1v2 their lanes, but Lucian's behind, so right now it's on the shoulders of martial arts for Yi and no attack.
And no attack, obviously doing so much damage. Almost got that Man Immune completed himself. There's going to be a race to completing it, but Misfortune does have that last Whisper, so it's going to start doing a lot more, especially when it gets upgraded into the slowing armor penetration item. It is eluding me what the name of it is right this second. But yeah, Misfortune and martial arts for Yi definitely in the driving seat, and Angry Cookie in a bit of a rough spot here, does manage to do a lot of damage but gets exhausted, and through the exhausted crescendo comes through the bullet time on top of Angry Cookie. No attack, managed to pick up once. Sona barely sidestepping but running for her life. It's only a matter of time as she actually walks away. They decide to go for the Baron, leaving Sona alive as Kuma and Ari, Reese's Cup, are walking towards the Baron now. Are they going to be able to finish this in time as Sona has healed herself just a little bit, about half HP, as Caddy now just trying to zone the bullet time. Yeah, it does block the unstoppable onslaught there, and they do get the Baron, but at what cost? No attack in a bit of a rough situation. Kuma with a great culling to zone people out, and the Featherstorm coming through, instantly exploding the Lucian on top of the charm. And now martial arts for you running, actually using the Noxian Guillotine on the Scion. Passive bit of disrespect there. Fantastic for them to get the Baron, but it's good trades back. Again, taking down Kuma and Caddy there.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately Caddy had to do that. Had to sacrifice your life for the cause. You don't want Scion ulting in the pit and removing Carthus from the game because, well, if you do that, there's a giant gray screen and there's no smite for the objective, so it comes into a gamble. So, good job by Caddy sacrificing yourself for the cause, and then, yeah, again, at least you got a nice pickup on Kuma. But yeah, this dragon is spawning in 38 seconds, so this is what Subi Ruby objectifies next. We need to go after this and make sure we get in position so they all time their recalls, and yeah, just it's slowly slipping away from the side of Absolute after we saw in the early game, and they essentially just gotta pull them away from these objectives if possible. But again, that's extremely hard based on the composition.
Well, with that being said, you have Graves and Ari both moving down this mid lane now, just trying to get some objective pressure. And you see this is going to push Ruby away from the Dragon, and as long as Absolute cannot get completely collapsed on here, there is a good chance they can set up for the Dragon themselves. The Mercy Hawk gets hooked in to 4 people, and you may have Hullbreaker, but a Knock Shoot Guillotine doesn't matter. It does true damage. A Bullet Time coming over from behind on no attack, but now Darius is on a rampage. A double kill. The Ghost is procced, and Reese's Cup is going to hemorrhage out. That is going to be a 3rd kill, a triple for the Darius as they get 3 kills in total. The fade away bleed, and a 3rd Dragon for Ruby now.
And this, as I said, we mentioned again, this is how this comp is supposed to be played. Darius goes in, deals a large amount of damage. Misfortune and Lucian pick off any stragglers that are caught by themselves. Blitzcrank essentially pulls anyone off that's caught by themselves. The Cardinals can sit back, hit 1 key, say my job here is done, and then walk away from the team fight. Enchanter does not need to be involved in these team fights. Just hit that hit that giant R key with Requiem, sit back and enjoy the misery as they slowly bleed to death, if not from hemorrhage or just from your abilities. And yeah, 6,000 gold lead, almost 7,000 gold lead to the side of CB Ruby as they sit on that Dragon Soul Point.
Yeah, and it was fantastic play from them to really force the issue there. That is one of the downsides when you're behind. If you're trying to pull pressure like Absolute were doing, then it does leave you very open to these awkward team fights where you yourselves are not positioned properly. And if you don't have engage, that's exactly what you want. You want the enemy team to be out of position, and you want them to be disorganized. So then when you do try and force the issue with not much CC, it doesn't matter too much. So fantastic work there. No attack using his ultimate to zone the champions behind of him, allowing Darius to just walk forward by himself and take down the Xayah. And yeah, the Xayah is in a bit of a rough spot right now, having the Man Immune completed as well as the Eclipse. And we're going to check on how much gold this Carthus gets here. Jeez. And he got from that one 201 gold.
That's
Oh, 171. Sorry, no, that was from a walk.
I checked out of curiosity. He's gained 926 gold this game. That's absolutely disgusting just for hitting 1 key.
Looks like they're going to try and force something here. There's no Dragon to play around this time, so Ruby do have to be a bit careful. They could end up forcing themselves into a bit of a strange position as Mercy Hawk looks like he may be caught out, but he is by himself. The Hullbreaker will let him hold up for just a minute, but the Guillotine coming through, plus the Decimate and the culling. Bit overkill there from Kuma, as now Absolute are just going to walk down this mid lane, try and get the tower and pick up some objective gold. And a great shot onto no attack there. 700 gold shut down, and now the Spirit Rush is going to come through. The Blitzcrank, sorry, rooted in place from the Xayah. And oh my goodness, this is a chance right now. If the charm lands onto the Carthus, the Feather Storm is ready to suck the feathers back in. Enchanter, 1 HP is going to go down. Ari managing to pick up some great kills there. And Ruby, you can't be doing that. That is such a dangerous way to play this late into the game.
And that's how Absolute wants to do it. That's their game plan. Pull them away from these tight corridors. Pull them away from these objectives. The issue is, what objective are you fighting over? Yeah, you see Sion, he with Hullbreaker. He's not really a champion at this moment. Not only did you burn Calling, but you also burn that Decimate. Congratulations, or the Guillotine, excuse me. Congratulations. Your Misfortune's completely caught out. Your mid wave is not pushing the way it needs to be. So not only did you lose no attack, Caddy dies for the cause, Enchanter dies for the cause. That Requiem was already used previously, so you know that you can go on this fight. And again, if you're the side of Ruby, you can't do that. You were ahead 7,000 gold, and now you're only ahead barely 3,000 gold. You've essentially allowed 4,000 gold to go in the favor of Absolute Pockets in a span of 2.5 minutes. If you continue like this, you're gonna throw this game away.
And that was just shutdown after shutdown after shutdown. No attack gave Graves 1,000 gold. Enchanter, I'm not sure if he had a shutdown, but that's still a juicy 300 gold with no shutdown. And some big money being transferred back over, and you see the Graves' items start to come online. Has the Infinity Edge, has the Collector, not quite got the 60% crit chance yet, so you don't get the bonus damage, but he will have that soon once he gets his 3rd item completed. And yeah, the Ari looking absolutely fantastic into this Misfortune, who has next to no mobility. Obviously, Misfortune's going to be a little bit safer now. She has the Shroud's Grudge, That was the item that I was talking about earlier, giving her the ability to slow with all of her damaging
Again.
abilities, and a big flash out there, but Angry Cookie just does not care as the bullet time comes out just to try and defend it. The Requiem going to come out here. Reese's Cup, Zonius is it, but now Big Daddy Colton maybe in a bit of trouble. The Featherstorm being used, and now Reese's Cup dying for the cause. That's okay. A 1-for-1. That's still a positive trade for Absolute.
Yeah, I mean, a 1-for-1 trade. The only bad part is Cookie and Reese's both had to burn their flashes. Oh, and on the other side,
Yeah, and now Sona getting taken down almost instantly. Martial arts for Yi with the Noxian Guillotine and the Decimate. One more hit onto the Graves is all it takes. The unstoppable onslaught comes through. The Gale Force from the Lucian taking down the Graves and the Scion simultaneously. And that is going to be Hex Tech Soul for Ruby. Absolute, you look so back in this game, and one misstep just allows the side of Ruby to take over.
and that's so unfortunate because Cookie was essentially trying to do damage, but you don't have the resets for Ari, and straight up Merkin already burned his crescendo, so you don't have that form of disengage in case you get collapsed upon. And Martial Arts Free sees the opportunity, flashes over the wall, burns Ghost. Guillotine comes down on 1-2 champions, and yeah, it's got clean 8, well not clean 8, but an 8 to the side of TB Ruby. You get Dragon Soul, and you got Baron 30 minutes up 7,000 gold. You are feeling very confident falling into this final stage of game 1.
You definitely are. An Angry Cookie not able to complete his Lord Dominic's regard just yet, so lacking a large amount of damage in these fights, as well as Carthus once again using the ultimate just to farm money, and he gets a juicy 210 this time. And you just see his gold right now, 14,000, 15,000 just tipped over that edge. And yeah, Graves and him performing fairly evenly, but 1,000 gold ahead of Graves from pressing ultimate. That is the whole rune, showing how powerful it is right now. And once Carthus reaches his final spike as Enchanter, taking a little bit of damage there, but once Carthus finishes his final item, he's only going to be using Requiem in these team fights, and that is when it gets extremely dangerous for the side of Absolute.
Not only did well, he seems to be collapsed upon bot lane.
Yeah, as Mercy Hawk uses the unstoppable onslaught, and now Angry Cookie is down here as well. Enchanter, you have to die for the cause. A great hourglass there, wasting so much time as the bullet time comes through, and the slow onto Mercy Hawk. The Surrounder's grudge keeps him from getting caught, and Enchanter dancing on his corpse there. As now they're going to walk it into this bot lane. It's a 3v5. They have the Baron buff available, and this could be the end of the game for Absolute. We'll have to see what happens.
I think it will. You have Requiem back up. You only have 3 people defending this wave as it gets used.
Yeah, as
Bye-bye.
and Requiem onto Sona instantly kills her. And yeah, it's only Reese's Cup and Big Daddy Colton out. If we have 2 players who can defend it, it will be these 2. But it looks like it's going to be too much. Reese's Cup doesn't have the wave clip, misses the charm. Initially, the Featherstorm comes out, but they're just fighting for their lives. And Zaya does actually manage to pick up Enchanter in the end there. But a great game 1 coming out from Ruby. Yeah, a fantastic game coming out from Ruby there, allowing them to take an early 1-0 lead in this series, and well played from both teams until 20-25 minutes, where we started to see some interesting team fights and a bit of missteps from both teams. Did actually Ruby manage to capitalize and get themselves into the lead? But what went wrong? How do Absolute fix this for game 2? And what did Ruby do well? How do they keep pressuring this? What they did?
So I think for Absolute, the problem is, right, that Karthus round 1 pick. It's just provided so much damage. So I think that needs to get removed for game 2 and 3. I understand I'm looking at their drafts from pick 1. You have Karma, Aatrox, Seraphine. I mean, Aatrox is an issue. You can keep that banned. Seraphine is a pick for Caddy in the bot lane. Karma, maybe you ban that away too, but it's difficult because if you let that comp that we just saw from game 1 play out, they'll do Karthus Darius again for the same picks for the side of Ruby. So unless you have some way to scale extremely hard early, I feel like they lose. They try to do Scion be tanky, just scale out as the game goes on, and they were clawing their way back. The problem is those choke points. They just
Yeah.
can't contest that. Darius, Karthus, Blitzcrank. Those are three champions that if you're even by yourself, that pull grabs you in is what we mentioned in the pregame phase. That champion's dead. I don't care who it is, you're instantly gonna die. So you saw the pick on R in the mid lane when they won that fight, killed her. You saw the pick on Sona when Darius or Graves was a little bit on the other side of the wall, kills her on the exact same side, which is funny enough, right around River in that bush,
Hmm.
right around blue side. That exact same quadrant was where the
Yeah.
two main team fights happened and were essentially a 4v1 and an ace for the side of Ruby. It was in these small contested points. So Absolute did it correctly the other time. They pushed up mid, they got some turrets, they pulled them away from it. But that's the issue. If that's your only game plan, it slowly becomes increasingly hard, especially with Elder Dragon and Baron on the table.
Yeah, and I think that if you do want to play this kind of composition, you do need the Scion or whoever is pushing in this top lane to be ahead. That you need to be able to have them to draw pressure.
Right.
But Darius could be up there in a one-on-one, and you still had this fantastic zone control from the other four members of Ruby. So the potential to swap out the Scion for potentially something like a Camille, something that has the ability to obviously take towers very quickly and also contest a Darius. And yeah, you're right. The Karma could definitely be, I think, taken out of the bans, and they should put in the Carthus instead, because I feel like if you're running the Graves, you have the option to go Serpent's Fang and remove a lot of this
Mhm.
shielding, as well as the Scion likes to build Serpent's Fang. It's a good lethality item for Scion, especially if you want to go for the Prowler's Claw build. So yeah, I think Karma isn't as big of a threat as maybe Absolute are giving them credit for. Obviously, it's a bit annoying in the early to mid game, but it does fall off.
Yes.
So we'll
Um,
have to see what their kind of game plan is. But for me, Ruby played that fantastically. They knew their win condition. Absolute did as well. They're just a bit unlucky, a couple of missteps. And I think that Ruby's comp was just maybe a little bit easier to execute.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw again, we saw the record from Karthus. All right, who's low? All right, Darius hit R with knocks the skeleton, get
Hmm.
some resets. And if anyone's by themselves, well, you have dashes from Lucian, you have that Saildred's Grudge on Misfortunate slows them down, lets you get back in range to execute them one by one. And that's what we saw. It's kind of like when you turn a light on, all the cockroaches scattered. That's essentially what happened.
Hmm.
They get blasted with this powerful light. They all try to run away. Well, their team comp chases after you extremely hard. So well played by Ruby for game one. And yeah, unless they don't change something out, that game two might again be in their favor.
Yeah, and we're just going to take a 30-second break here while we set up game two between CB Ruby and Absolute. So join us back here in just a moment, and we'll be ready to draft and talk you through game two.
And welcome back to game two between Absolute Esports and CB Ruby. Absolute has decided to stay on blue as the bans are coming in. Karma and Darius they felt was the main problem for game one, so that is removed as their second ban. Whereas Ruby again do not want to see the Soraka Viger ban, so those are two champions that are removed from the pool.
Yeah, and the Seraphine banned out third from Absolute. So pretty standard bans. Is Ruby, thinking that Zaya may have been a problem there as they hover it, but no, the Ornn and the Ari being hovered as well. Both
Ari,
were very present.
Ooh.
Ruby
They got
ban
rid of
out.
the card.
Ruby ban out Karthus. Obviously, Absolute potentially looking to first pick it themselves, but they leave the Ari open, and Absolute confident enough in Reese's Cup to take the Ari for game 2, and we see the Zeri being hovered right now. Zeri obviously being changed, so being more of a AD carry regular builder now, so having the shield bow and other items, but the Corki being locked in to counteract the Ari in the mid lane.
I mean, Corki can do a large amount of damage mid to late game. That true damage on top of rockets. In fact, you have more than one. You have a giant rocket. You have a package that comes in and separate an entire front line from the back line, create a bunch of chaos. As we see, Yasuo and the best champions being hovered. But yeah, Corki is a great pick in Ari because he can keep his distance while still doing the same amount of damage, or if not more.
Yeah, and I like the Zaya Corki combination. You have so much poke coming into the mid to late game, so they just need to supplement that with some good crowd control once again, like they did in the first game. Put out some good pressure and play for these dragons. To see Ruby starting off with a very nice start. Absolute picking up the Ari like we just spoke about. Very standard mid lane pick, a great first pick, not weak to many mid laners. And the Ziggs for the side of Absolute. Big Daddy Colton, we've spoken about this multiple times. They do not like AD carries. And now Big Daddy Colton gets a chance to show off one of his AP carries.
Unfortunately, usually pairs it with a nice Soraka bot lane, but he doesn't have Soraka since it's banned, but I do expect some type of enchanter here for the side of Absolute, as Ornn does get picked up for the top lane, a nice safe carry. As Aatrox is also good into Ornn if they want to do it. They did not ban Aatrox. I'm curious if they'll pick that up for the side of for Yi for game 2.
Yeah, it looks like the Ornn obviously being picked up from Absolute here, so a great pickup alongside Ari and Ziggs. But yeah, here comes the Aatrox. They've got to lock it in. It's principle. If you ban out my champion and then don't ban it the next game, you have to play it. It's all mind control. And I like the Ornn into Aatrox. It's not a terrible matchup for the Ornn, and obviously we've seen Mercy Hawk on this Ornn multiple times, and we've seen the strength that they can provide to the team, not only in the laning phase, but also in team fights as well. So this is Absolute's time to shine, but they need some strong AD champion in the jungle here to make sure they're not overwhelmed, and allowing Aatrox to build Spirit Visage and just take no damage.
Right, as we see those Graves coming down, they realize Ruby was a big problem for the side of Absolute, so they take that away from them. They do not, they absolutely do not want Angry Cookie to be on these strong, independent junglers that essentially the team could play around. As we see Blitzcrank getting banned off of Caddy, we know that was a big point of contention. Yuumi getting banned as well, so they kind of want to see if they're going to do a support or a jungler pick here and try and counteract that, as Viego being hovered, but Ivern could be a nice spicy pickup.
Please. Come on, Ruby, show
I
us
want the
some
Ivern.
craziness. I like the Lilia. I really like the Lilia as a pick here.
I want Ivern.
I would like to see Ivan as well, as Zac is quite interesting, having a lot of mobility in the jungle and leaving the support pick up for last. Quite interesting, obviously. Going to be able to feel out if Absolute want to play an Enchanter, maybe pick up the Blitzcrank again. So a good idea to leave that open and, have some counter pick based on what they pick in the bot lane here.
Blitzcrank kind of bans. I don't know if they'll be able to do that.
Oh,
but...
yeah, that's true.
But however, you still have Alistar, right? You still have Nautilus. Maybe if you want to, you can go Morgana. But I've been playing Zac recently. I really like Zac. He does so much as a tank. The fact that he provides multiple layers of CC, like both his Q, his E, and his ult, all have layers of CC to them. 3 out of 4 abilities for a champion that has CC, and the fact that I can literally slingshot all the way from blue buff to essentially Riverside with my max E is incredible. Just the amount of movement speed he can get, and just the what's the word I'm looking for? The terrain he can cover to essentially engage on these champions. Zyra wouldn't be a bad pickup here. And again, we talked about choke points game 1. CB Ruby are playing game 2. Aatrox, Zac, and Zyra are so strong in choke points, but Swain potentially as well. Renata, oh please let go Renata.
Renata
Renata would be so good in this comp.
I do just want to point out that Absolute have decided to take Nunu jungle. So no lane is safe. Nunu can snowball down every single one of these lanes, and every single one of these lanes has so much crowd control to support that I feel Nunu is going to absolutely terrorize the side of Ruby here. And Ruby have to be so careful because they may never make it out of the laning phase with a Nunu, Ziggs, and Ahri just running them down rampantly. Even the Ornn can provide so much for Nunu.
Potentially, but I still like CB Ruby's comp better, just because if Zac lands on someone, Leona can follow up, or Leona follows up, vice versa. Aatrox gets resets on his cleanup. How do you get to Corki and Xayah? Especially, like, Leona can just ult and just sit next to these carries. Aatrox and Zac are going in, so Ziggs needs a large amount of protection. Yeah, Ahri can dash away, but Ziggs and Senna need a large amount of protection in order to deal their damage. So if you have this giant blob and this demon from hell essentially on top of your face, you don't have that breathing room, you're essentially dead. And Ziggs and Senna are going to be these carries for later game. I mean, again, Reese's Cup is strong on R, we've seen that game 1, we've seen that in other series as well. But it comes down to this bot lane between Big Daddy Colton and straight up Merkin. They have to perform well in this lane, because if they don't, if they fall behind like they did in game 1, just looking at their compositions, I feel like CB Ruby essentially take this game and go up to the series 2-0.
Yeah, I do agree with you entirely that yes, CB Ruby do scale fantastically, and you are right, in these team fights, if Absolute don't have a commanding lead, how do you get to the backline, who are significantly safer than Senna and Ziggs? But I actually think that I want to give this game to Absolute. I think that the Nunu is going to terrorize these laners. And yes, they do have some mobility, but Corki, you can Valkyrie away from Nunu, but Nunu can spin that snowball round and round, and as long as he has done that before coming into the lane, he has extra mobility. The Aatrox can get CC'd forever between Ornn and Nunu, and even in this bot lane, Leona and Xayah pre-6 have no backwards mobility, they are forwards only. So there is a solid chance Absolute can run away with this game and not allow Ruby out of the laning phase.
I could see that. I could potentially see that. I just think between Nunu and Zac, it's going to be interesting because I feel both of the presents going to be gank heavy, at least early levels 3 through 6, compared to what we saw last time between Karthus and Graves. So I do see more interaction in the bot lane, potentially top lane as well. Mid lane's kind of hard just because obviously Uchari has a charm, Corki has a dash, so maybe not so much mid lane unless the wave are in a bad state and overextended. But Aatrox, I feel like again, we saw Darius game 1, I just feel like for game 2, martial arts Rui, put him on a carry, let him just win that lane, and if he wins the lane by himself, you can then focus on your bot lane. So I feel like that's going to be Ruby's strategy heading into game 2.
Hey, and with that being said, thank you for the analysis as always, Eternal. And we're going to go to a short break while we wait for the spectator delay to finish itself off. So join us back here in just a moment for game 2 of Absolute and CB Ruby.
Welcome back to Game 2 to Absolute Esports and CB Ruby. CB Ruby has jumped out to a 1-0 lead, sticking with the red side as Absolute has chosen to go blue, as they will just do a standard 5-man stack and just make sure that, you know, no funny business is going on at early levels.
Yeah, and we spoke about this obviously in the drafting phase. Big Daddy Colton this time on a signature AP carry in the bot lane, so a bit more comfortable for their bot side, playing this very classic sit back farm from range and allow themselves to scale up. You've obviously got the Nunu in the jungle, and we were just talking, Eternal, about how important both of these junglers are to the teams. And once again, they're both on these playmaking junglers. We have Nunu and Zac, both incredibly gank heavy. Last game was a little bit more farm heavy, so it'll be very exciting to see how explosive they are in this game too.
Yeah, we've talked about a little bit in the break as well, where Angry Cookie, if you snowball on this Nunu right to the mid lane, Ari can essentially one-shot you at 6, and you're basically not a champion at that moment of time. Whereas for the side of Ruby, you need Zai, you need Corki to scale up and deal damage. So early levels do favor Absolute, but as the game progresses, they will slowly start to favor CB Ruby.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Big Daddy Colton sat in this bush, gets a nice little bomb there, and you know that Sugar Rush Ziggs is very annoying, but Merkin has to be careful here.
God.
Good trades in this bot lane. We were just talking about them sitting back and farming, but it doesn't look like they need to. The range advantage level 1 for Ziggs Senna is absolutely fantastic. And Leona already having to use a potion in this level 1, and no attack being forced off the wave a little bit as well. Good trades in this early game for the sides of Absolute, and you can tell they're feeling more comfortable.
Oh yeah, it's night and day between game 1 and game 2. Put Colt on an APC and it feels perfectly fine. Game 1 is a little stuck. Oh, no attack gets rooted.
No attack does get rooted, but a good trade back there. Caddy stepping up, even being level 1. The Ziggs wasn't in a position to punish, as Martial Arts for Yi taking a small trade in the top lane as well, but nothing crazy happening. But you can see no attack and Caddy, while they're getting pushed into the tower, do actually pick up a small CS lead, because Big Daddy Colton and Merkin were focused on poking. So good trades there, but they have to convert this into a lead in the bot lane at some point, but a good start for Absolute.
Yeah, no, it's a great start. Unfortunately, just, you know, Leona eventually gets tanky and you can't really do as much damage during the early levels as, oh, Colton does miss that caddy. That hurts a little bit. But no, it is, like you mentioned before, they have to capitalize this early. Otherwise, you're essentially poking them out for nothing, and you'll essentially lose the trade, and you'll lose CS, and over time, you're going to lose gold.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll be able to make something happen. As Reese's Cup getting pushed in by the Corki here. A bit unusual for the Corki to be pressuring this mid lane, but this is exactly what I spoke about. The Nunu just providing so much as the Zac coming over gets knocked up by Angry Cookie there, and Angry Cookie going to stand on top of him. Is he going to be able to pick up the kill as well? A bit early on to be able to one-shot the Zac, and a good jump over there as Ari flashes into Martial Arts for Yi. That was unexpected, a bit of a panic flash, but Angry Cookie picking up a double kill off the back of that. And both junglers we just spoke about being impactful, and Angry Cookie off to a fantastic start on this Nunu.
Yeah, great early 2 kills to side of Cookie. Unfortunately, Reese's forgot the Aatrox was down there, and like you mentioned, panic flashed over the wall. But Kuma did burn his flash as well. So yeah, you can regank this mid lane if you're Nunu. I expect both junglers to regank this mid lane because, again, both of their opponents do not have flash up. So they don't have that little bit of safety, and, well, they're more vulnerable. Their vulnerability is going to be showing.
Yeah, and Mazzy Hawk taking a trade onto this Aatrox here. It might be enough to warrant burning flash, but just going to walk out, knows that Aatrox didn't have the empowered auto attack up just yet. And now the Zac in this top wave, but so is the Nunu, and here's the Aatrox getting knocked up, the phase rush on top of him, but a great attack there from the Zac, slapping them together. But Angry Cookie being able to pick up the Aatrox, still 2-1 on the Aatrox, but 3-0 on Angry Cookie already.
And yeah, this is essentially up.
In the bot lane, a good Zenith Blade and Ignite onto Merkin, and no attack actually getting flashed on top of by the Senna there. Not able to pick them up, and a pick up there for Leona. A bit unfortunate that Zaya didn't manage to get that, but great nonetheless. And so everything's just chaotic, and this is what we spoke about. They are explosive teams. They like to make fights happen. So very interesting to see these fights going on so early on, and Nunu's still not recalling yet. Potentially looking to pick up the Corki or just counter jungle, as yeah, the Zac coming around for a potential 2v2 once again.
Looks like he might go top lane. Orin did burn flash in that last exchange, but no, he's just going to reset at try. And yeah, Cookie should reset after getting Raptors and essentially, yep, okay, there we go. I was about to say, you're sitting on 2,000 gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're sitting on 2.2k gold, so you kind of want to buy those items to essentially clear faster.
Yeah, and here we go. We see him back already picking up the fully completed Ninja Tabbies and the Bami Cinder in comparison to Zac only having the Bami Cinder and tier 1 boots. So significantly stronger right now. Already at 300 gold shutdown. So he has to be careful, obviously, coming into the middle of this game, or the late stages of the early game, sorry, to make sure he doesn't get shut down, because that could be detrimental to him. At the moment, doing a fantastic job in this jungle, and Aatrox actually getting knocked around left, right, and center. Martial Arts for Yi trading 1-for-1, actually gets out on 1 HP with the healing from the World Ender and Triumph, meaning that is fantastic. As now Angry Cookie looking for something in this bot lane, gets rooted, and the Zenith Blade on top. There's Zac coming over the wall, and Angry Cookie gets shut down by Enchanter. And that is absolutely massive from Enchanter to read Angry Cookie like a book there.
Yeah, you know he's not top side. You just saw Aatrox dive him, so you know he's not there. Mid lane's not there either, so you know the only spot he has to be is bot side. Plays the bot side, they wait for him to go in. They essentially get the counter engage, the counter gank goes off. And again, that giant lead, that was all their gold for the side of Absolute, and that's now just taken away from them.
And with that shutdown going over to Enchanter as well, it's going to get him right back into this game. Now, Reese's Cup is looking for something in this bot lane. Doesn't manage to pick anything up, as they're once again they're respecting the fact that Reese's Cup is off the map. So very well done, as Zac once again over the wall here. And are they going to allow the same thing to happen twice? So Zac leaps away and keeps himself safe. And now, for Absolute, looking to pick up this first dragon.
Yeah, and as they have it, they know Corki was low on mana. He could TP in, but they don't expect him to, so this should be an early dragon. And the one thing I forgot to mention last time is the reason Aatrox was able to pull that off is he did hit level 6, so he had access to World Ender, whereas Orin did not have Call the Forge God yet. So that's just a free dive and great play by Martial Arts for Yi. It's this top wave. He's essentially ahead 1,600 gold on his opposition, and this is one of Ruby's win conditions, and they should continue to exploit this.
Yeah, and Mercy Hawk last week showing up and doing fantastically. Weak side this time, playing out a little bit more as expected against Martial Arts for Yi, putting in a very solid performance so far. Both games at this point in the game, Martial Arts for Yi has been about 2 levels up on his opposition, so keeping it strong right now. Is Angry Cookie in a bit of a rough spot, does manage to pick up the Rift Herald, stands straight on top of it just to make sure he gets the Rift Herald as he's taken down, so gets the objective, but is killed by Corki, who you don't want to scale into this mid game earlier than expected.
No, you do not, and that was what we talked about in the pregame as well. The side of Ruby wants to scale, and if you're the side of Absolute, you need to be ahead early, often, and continuous. And so far, they failed 3 of these objectives to match, and we're slowly seeing it play out as CB Ruby has jumped to a 2.4k goal lead sub 10 minutes in the game.
And then Nunu just not being able to do the work that I kind of expected in this early game. As Ornn taken over the wall there, but the Call of the Forge Gods will come through. The Aatrox gets charmed up. A good double knock up there. A big shutdown onto Martial Arts for Yi, onto the Ornn. And now Enchanter going to be taken down. Please hand this over to Reese's Cup. Make sure he gets the maximum amount of gold there, and it does get handed over. So Ari on the board now with a kill, and a fantastic Call of the Forge Gods there from Mercy Hawk, getting both of them just before he was knocked up.
Yeah, it's a great shutdown as well. At least get a little gold back in the pocket of Orin. You were down a large amount, so at least you get something back. But again, good job handing over the other kill to Reese's Cup. 2-for-1 trade for the side of Absolute, and this is what you need to come back in this game. Again, we spoke about them being early ahead. Well, you need to continue on this path because you're still behind 2,000 gold. So small windows of opportunity like this will slowly come back in the game.
And Angry Cookie rolling into the mid lane there. Nunu is scary, but the Valkyrie is a great escape tool. When you are sat close to your tower, it's not going to give Reese's Cup a chance to follow up, so they just leave that one as Nunu returns to the jungle to farm. Up in CS right now, so doing well. It's martial arts for Yi, taking a couple of tower shots, but still 2 levels up on the Ornn. So keeping the lead even with that death. We'll have to see if Ornn manages to pick anything up. But right now, everyone's just kind of chilling out a bit. You've got 2 minutes to the Dragon. Rift Herald is not up for another 4 minutes. So it's farm time for every one of these laners.
Yeah, a little bit. Just, alright, there's no objective up for a while. We can just kind of, you know, beat each other, smack each other around, get some CS, see how everyone's day is going, and then, you know, when that Dragon timer's up, alright, now it's go time. Now let's beat each other's faces in. But another gank in the mid lane. Corki does not have escape yet.
And a great bomb from downtown from the Ziggs. Angry Cookie getting jumped on by the Zac, though, having to flash out. The phase rush doesn't go off. A bomb flies over to Kuma, but he has the Maw of Malmortius as now the counter engage comes through. The Aatrox is here, the center ultimate, but a double Darkin Blade finisher there as now Merkin is trying to trade something back, but Corki picks up one. The Ahri flashes on top of the Corki and the Zac. That is a great charm. The Spirit Rush is available. He's just going to wait for his combo to come up, making sure he doesn't lose out on that kill. And a double kill back from Reese's Cup there. Fantastic trade back, but a massive overextension. Angry Cookie is a little bit thrown off his game right now as Mercy Hawk having to run for his life.
Yeah, Mercy Hawk should be dead here too as a lockup comes in, and yeah, just again good at least got 2 kills back, but unfortunately that's 4 kills to the side of Ruby. 4,000 gold ahead as, yeah, the Absolute's win condition of them being ahead early is not playing in their favor as we see this 12 minutes in the game.
No, it's definitely not. So now they need to try and convert this into obviously getting a couple more dragons. You've got Nunu, who is fantastic at killing dragons. Didn't quite get the satchel on the tower there. Zig's specialty is obviously exploding towers at 25% HP or less. But yeah, they need to look for a couple more dragons and allow time for Ziggs and Senna to get themselves fully into this game, as now Caddy flashes on top of Angry Cookie. Maybe it's an overextension here, but Leona is just an absolute fortress of a champion when she's not behind, and you can see the power of that, keeping the mid lane safe. And now martial arts for Yi, trading backwards and forwards once again.
Yeah, and this dragon should be theirs to kind of spot it out. I don't think you can get in this pit. I think you just have to give it up and just focus on the mid turret.
Yeah, Corki has packaged Kuma standing there, zoning everyone off. The Ahri charm hits the Leona, but it makes them path towards you, and it made Leona actually walk away from the Ahri there. So interesting interaction. First tower going the side of Absolute, and Caddy in a bit of a rough spot, but maybe baiting his Angry Cookie, getting a massive storm there onto 3 champions, but the Zac is doing so much damage. Reese's Cup, you have to run, a big one comes through, but Ahri trades one back onto the Xayah before she dies, and now Enchanter trying to run, misses the bounce, does manage to get the slap together, but it's going to be too much as Angry Cookie picks up another kill. 10 to 12 on the board now, but the Dragon going the side of CB Ruby.
Dragon does go to Ruby, 2 kills to the side of Absolute, as again, they take that first tower gold mid. Mercy Hawk teleports down the mid lane, just in case there's a follow-up by martial arts for Yi, and it's Aatrox with a gold enter, decides not to. And yeah, that 2,000 gold lead has only shortened to about 700 gold, but again, that's because of that first tower gold plating that came through. So we'll have to see how they capitalize on this, and do they try and look for another potential pick engage like they just saw on the bot side.
Yeah, and with 10 seconds left on this Rift Herald before it spawns, there is a chance for another team fight. We do want to see Absolute start cracking some towers open, giving them a bit more freedom to move around the map and look for these flanks with Nunu. But yeah, a great Absolute Zero in that fight from the Nunu as well. Obviously gives him a shield, does massive damage as Nunu just running around the map looking for the Xayah. Doesn't manage to pick anything up. And Merkin, just to give you an update on his souls right now, as he is starting to scale 34 souls at 14 minutes, so not a huge amount. Still, he is starting to scale up. You see him going for the Kraken Slayer build as Mercy Hawk getting bullied a little bit in this top lane.
Yeah, that kind of happens when Aatrox is literally up and about to dive him.
All the Portugal comes through, has to flash out, and it's a good escape there from Mercy Holt just to keep himself safe. As you now see Angry Cookie and Merkin walking towards the top wave, but Aatrox just going to walk it out, leave it alone. It does look like Absolute are going to get this second Rift Herald as well.
Potentially, but Leona is sniffing around. Zach's up inside the map, so he should get it. But we'll see if Zaya can essentially rotate over unless... Yep, no, they're just going to give it. Okay, they go back to mid lane. It's like a bit more pressure.
No, it's actually going to reset. The Nunu having to chase it down as Reese's Cup gets a good engage onto Kuma there. Kuma has that more of Malmortius. It's going to provide a lot of pressure as now you see Reese's Cup with everything. A missile barrage comes out there, and that's really unfortunate for Reese's Cup. A bit of a misplay, and it gives Corki another kill. 4-2-2 now on the board for Corki.
Yeah, that's what we mentioned earlier. Corki, especially in the mid and late game, just has this large amount of damage into the RE pick. And yeah, unfortunately, Reese's Cup, you know, a little panic kind of setting in. Nerves are still shaking a bit. Misses the charm, and essentially Corki can follow up with that little... I forget what his W was called.
The Valkyrie.
Valkyrie, thank you. Follows up with the Valkyrie, gets a nice solo kill down there, and yeah, I feel like Ari had the better exchange. Reese's Cup essentially getting the full combo off, but again, this is the power of Kuma on these solo lane carries. Corki and Lucian being one of the two that he plays most often, and again, we're just slowly seeing CB Ruby pull ahead in the series.
Yeah, and still, the game is not over yet, but we wanted to see the Nunu get control of these early objectives. Manages to get both Rift Heralds. Or just the one, sorry, never actually managed to take it because of the fact it reset, they pulled it too far out. But only having one dragon on the board at 16 minutes with yet another minute to spawn, it is a little bit worrying. But martial arts for Yi, going to just ignore them and take this tower, but at what cost? He's going to have to use the World Ender and try and fight a 2v1. It's a big heal with the Gorge Ranger, and now martial arts for Yi in a bit of a rough spot, using the absolute zero as he flashes away from it. Martial arts for Yi, you've got to try and heal. The Zac comes through, and this is massive as the Leona's there with the Zenith Blade as well. Mercy Hawk's not even going to be able to trade one back because Aatrox has so much healing, and a kill for Aatrox and a kill for Leona as a great turnaround. And this is the power of Aatrox in this top lane. If you cannot one-shot him, he will heal and heal and heal until you are the one who's dead.
And that's the thing is, right, martial arts for you is on these solo carries that can 1v2 the game. I mentioned that you leave Karma open, let them pick Karma. You need to remove Aatrox and Darius from the map. Well, they removed Darius, but they kind of left Aatrox up there, one of his signature picks, and as we've seen in this game, he is taking over the entire Rift by storm. 1v2, waits for support from both Enchanter and Kay to come topside to help him out a bit. Gore Drinker pops, makes him sustain himself, keep him alive. Now with Death's Dance, you are already tanky and self-sufficient. This is just going to be increasingly frustrating to deal with this Aatrox.
And this has to be an instant rush here from Absolute if they want to get this, because if the side... CB Ruby get in, and they do with a missile barrage. The dragon does get taken by Angry Cookie, but at what cost is now they are being run down. The Zac lets bounce come onto two people. The leap forward onto the Ziggs right now. Ziggs is running for his life, does get taken down as well. No attack flashes forward with the Feather Storm and the recall, and now Corki is on a rampage as well as the Aatrox Master.
He's feeling himself.
Master Arts for Yi is feeling himself, but Angry Cookie gets the smite, has the phase rush available, so going to be able to walk this out, hopefully. But now Leon is here with the Zenith Blade as well. Uses the Solar Eclipse just to secure the kill, and they get the dragon, but end up losing all of their lives.
Yeah, and that's just how they punish him. Like, that's what I was mentioning about, is they have so much, like, the CC control and layer upon layer of making these champions unplayable. Zac and Leona are in that back line. The entire time Corki is hitting him, no one's stopping him. Aatrox is on top of their faces as well. No one can has enough damage or even any kind of heal cut to deal with him besides Ornn at the moment. But again, Ornn is a tanky, he can weak side, so none of these carries have a way to deal with him as he just constantly goes in. And you look at the goal differential, you look at the kills, you look at what they've been able to do. 7,000 goal lead, 19 minutes and 30 seconds in the game. This is without Baron. Now they can honestly, I feel like if they get reset, they can easily do Baron at sub 22 minutes.
And the Corki having the Manamune and the Maw of Malmortius fully completed, almost going to have that Ludens as well. So going to have so much damage to do this, Baron. You're absolutely right. The Zac going Demonic Embrace, so doing a lot of damage himself as well. You see how strong the Corki Zaya are together. They have so much range, so much poke. And yeah, Absolute have no way of punishing them right now.
Oh, it seems like Absolute's gonna start it up. Okay,
Yeah,
but
and that
I
is
feel like
certainly-
Leona's gonna sniff it out though.
Yeah, but does she sniff it out in time? The thing is, if she isn't aware, it's already down to 6,000 HP. Do they have time to react to this? This could be massive. But the Solar Eclipse comes through, just negating some of the damage. Now Zac is going to be looking to leap into the pit. They have Angry Cookie. You've got to kill him if you want a chance to secure this Baron, because he can chomp it. And now the Nunu is going to get taken down. But Reese's Cup manages to pick up the Corki, as now he's running for his life. You have the No Attack running down the Ari now. They managed to get Baron for the side of Ruby. No Attack going to take down Reese's Cup, but no, gets charmed up. Does manage to walk it out. A big load of damage. A Featherstorm comes through, proccing the Eclipse, and now Big Daddy Colton is not going to be able to get out. No, he manages to walk through his base. Yeah, it was a great attempt from the side of Absolute there. I feel like they have to go for it. It's a desperation play, and it just didn't work out by a couple thousand HP.
No, just barely misses it, but now unfortunately now you're up 10,000 gold leaf to the side of Ruby as they're going to slowly start taking these towers, and that was without martial arts for Yi. They're just essentially just shoving down the side lane, and yeah, this is going to be a problem for them.
Yeah, but martial arts for Yi in a bit of a rough situation, but you see how much he heals with the Death's Dance, and the Gore Drink are going to take a lot of that damage residually. So potentially going to drop very low here, but still not quite enough, as Angry Cookie very close to getting hit by those feathers. And yeah, it took... He just fought a 3v1 with no World Ender and survived. So what's going to happen when it's a 5v5 Eternal? It's going to be absolute madness.
Yeah, if it's a 3v1 and you can't kill him, what hope do you have in a 5v5 besides, you know, Kuma and No Attack being there on their carries? And oh man, I feel like at this point, if you can find a pick on Kuma No Attack, essentially take them down, because you need all 5 members for this Aatrox. I think that's the point of the game where he's just too strong to take down by yourselves. So at this point, find pick potential and find where you get outstanding gold. You still have tier 1's top and bot side, so you can try and force members to take them. You have Ziggs, get some extra income in your pocket, but you do, if you're going to commit to one of these towers, you need to make sure you have vision on that side of the map, because otherwise, as we've seen previously in the last 20 minutes of the game, they have so much collapse potential from the side of Ruby that if you play it incorrectly, you're essentially going to be punished severely for that.
Yeah, and at this point, they should be in full turtle mode, just trying to keep themselves alive for long enough now. The Senna still doesn't even have the Kraken Slayer. That is how far behind Absolute are right now. So it's rough for them, but they do have a chance to scale if CB Ruby take their foot off the gas. But it's all about shutting down some of these key champions right now. There are shutdowns almost exclusively across the board, except for Corki. So if they can pick up a couple of kills, they may be able to claw their way back into this. But right now, CB Ruby are definitely in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and you see Dragon's Buds coming up, you essentially give that over for CB Ruby, and you just have to commit to this top or bot wave, where you know bot waves are on Dragons, so I feel like you just commit to
look for the snowball onto No Attack, and it's a great Featherstorm there, but the phase rush Nunu is a lot, and No Attack is actually going to be able to escape. That doesn't even get hit by the Absolute Zero, and now martial arts for Yi is here. Hits Merkin with the full Darkened Blade, and now Big Daddy Colton, you are on a mage. That is the downside. You have no escape, as Ari has to flash away from Corki as well, and this could potentially be the game-ending moment for Absolute here, as Ruby are pushing into their base once again. And with a 12,000 gold lead and 2 members dead, are they going to be able to recover anything from here? They have the Call of the Forge Gods available, and it's all down to them right now, as Zac looking to leap in from a distance. Doesn't go for it, as they just back off and look to push towards this bot side tower.
Yeah, and I mean, they're essentially just going around the map and getting wherever they need for free. It's 24 minutes to get an inhib. They should be able to get this tower bot lane.
Yeah, as Angry Cookie does get a knock up there, but the Zax lets bouncing into multiple members as Call of the Forge Gods hits all the primary carries on the side of Ruby, but they're just so far ahead it doesn't matter. And now Mercy Hawk is in a rough spot, gets hit by the leap Zac pulling 2 champions together, actually gets taken into his blood form there, but martial arts for Yi is so strong, he can provide the protection now as he's still feeling himself. Reese's Cup doesn't have the spirit rush up just yet, gets taken down by no attack. Martial arts for Yi is just destroying everyone. The world ender is resetting over and over again. I'm going to start having to call him Katarina because he's got so many resets in his pocket as martial arts for Yi picking up another triple kill and going to end the game in just a moment.
Yeah, and there's these two Rubies having a little fun. They know this game is over. And if you're the side of Absolute, I just think you need to ban Darius, ban Aatrox, and ban Seraphine. Let them pick Karma.
They're putting on an absolute masterclass Ruby right now. You give them their comfort champions and they will show you what they can do with them. And it doesn't look like Angry Cookie. I have to say he's not in his comfort zone right now. I want to see him on something like a Xin, something that can really, really pop off and make the plays and be more proactive. Because the Nunu, for me, was a great pick, but it just did not do well enough.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, right? We talked about the fact that they need to get ahead. They need to stay ahead. We haven't seen that, at least for games 1 and game 2. I mean, granted, game 1, they had a little of the cheese pick. They got ahead in the bot lane. But when you play weak side top, you just need to sit these bot lanes. But we've constantly seen again from Angry Cookie, he keeps going back top side to essentially alleviate some of the pressure so the top laner isn't out of the game. But if you're going to be playing weak side top, you need someone that has damage on your team to stay ahead. Granted, this game 2, they had most of the kills, so unfortunately it was on him to make a lot of these plays. But I'm going to echo what you said. You need to make sure Angry Cookie is on a playmaker like Xin Zhao, or Jarvan, for instance. Go back to the Graves. Something where he can consistently deal damage early enough that the rest of the team can follow suit and kind of carry themselves into the mid stage, into the midpoint of the game.
Yeah, and you know, as much as I like the concept of having a weak side and having a strong side, I just want to see them playing a strong team comp overall for this third game. I feel like they need, you know, Absolute show that they are great at just being explosive and pushing their lead when they get it. But they're just not getting these leads at the moment because all of their lanes are a bit weaker than potentially they should be. So I just want to see them pick an overall rounded comp, much less weak side focused and much more, you know, just put Renekton top. He can handle himself by himself. And, you know, you give your jungler more options. Like at the moment, I just don't feel like Angry Cookie has many options to make these plays because if you already are under the impression that your top lane's lost before the game's even started, then you're very limited to what you can actually do.
Right, and we kind of saw in both games too. It's like, besides Ari, maybe a lot of their quote unquote point and click CC is on skill shot champions. Whereas for the side of Sweet Ruby, I mean, Aatrox has a knock up, Leona has a stun, Zac has a knock up. You go back to game 1 between these teams, right? Darius has a pull, Blitzcrank has a pull, and as well as a knock up. Carlos has a slow. So they need to play compositions where they can kind of piggyback off of one another and be comfortable on it. Because a lot of these standalone picks, like I'm fine with Ziggs bot lane, but you saw them remove that Soraka, which is typically something that for the bot lane of Absolute they play heavily on. They rely on more or less. We've seen Vigo get banned, so they're basically telling them we're eliminating your comfort picks and your reliability bot lane. We just beat you game 1. We gave you a comfort pick on Ziggs. We just beat you on it. What else do you have to throw at us?
Exactly, exactly. And with that being said, we're going to take a 30-second breather once again. Just grab yourselves some drinks. It's been 2 very intense games so far. And join us back here in just a moment for the drafting between Absolute Esports and CB Ruby for Game 3.
All bang, bang, bloody bang.
And welcome back to Game 3 between CB Ruby and Absolute Esports, as Absolute has actually swapped sides for Game 3. They will be on red side, and yeah, it's just, I feel like Absolute just kind of needs to just settle down a little bit, get refocused, because last week they showed up extremely strong. I just feel like this week they've kind of missed some of the mark along the way.
Yeah, and just feel like we were just talking about this, Eternal, is that, Angry Cookie is the playmaker for the team and the shot caller, but he doesn't have anything to play around right now. They've had both game 1 and 2 a losing top lane just from matchup alone. You had Darius into Sion, which always is Darius' favor without jungler interaction. And then you had Ornn Aatrox, which once again is very Aatrox favored without jungler interaction. And when Absolute love to play this bot side of, farm up, just chill out and allow the other laners to get ahead whilst you're farming, and then you come into this mid to late game with some serious strength. Because their top side is already losing, it's so difficult for them to, get themselves ahead. But as the drafting has started, CB Ruby on this blue side this time, picking up the Seraphine as their first pick.
Yeah, and that's something that essentially was constantly being taken away from Absolute, so I'm kind of interested they picked it up. They do ban away the AP switch, so it looks like Big Daddy Colton will not be playing that in this game.
Big Daddy
yeah.
Colton, actually, just as a note, has been subbed out. Both of their bot lane players have been subbed for this third game. So looking for a bit of a switch up here, as now they have negative win rate Zeri and duo abuse Ego in for this third game. So we'll see if the switch up in players will actually help them succeed, as the Ahri locked in for Absolute and Kha'Zix is well in the jungle.
Yeah, that's right. That's my bad if I should have mentioned that. But yeah, Angry Cookie does get Kha'Zix. That was something that was banned in the previous game. So again, this is something that we have both been preaching on for, I think, at least a good part of the last 2 hours, is put Cookie on something that he scales well into and he's comfortable on. Let him be the playmaker. Let him pick something that's strong consistently throughout the game, and Kha'Zix is one of those champions that matches all those pre-requirements.
And we see now Ruby deciding to draft very heavily into the Kha'Zix, with the Lee Sin granting true sight when he hits both his Q and his E on the Kha'Zix. So not as much mobility, and Ruby once again opting in for the Corki into the Ahri matchup. But this time you have the Kha'Zix has a lot more kill pressure as opposed to just CC and relying on your laners, and the Sion taken for Absolute once again with no counter pick in sight, but they're going to ban out the Darius and most likely the Aatrox here as well.
I'm fine with that. I'm just not a big fan of, again, putting top side and a weak side carry, just because we spoke about this a little bit during the break. He kind of just wanders through top side and tries to help him out a little bit, and it's, if you're going to play weak side, you essentially let your laner know, hey, you're not going to get any help. Do what you can. I can maybe come up if there's a freeze, break a freeze, or essentially help you shove a wave out. But that's the only times I'm going to be up there. Ganking for you is going to be non-existent. So just do your best, survive laning phase. I want to go help out my bot lane and my mid lane. And again, well, at least Aatrox and Darius are banned, so it's going to put them on something else top lane. But there are plenty of strong top lanes. We could see a Tryndamere come out. You mentioned you could see Renekton. So there's still potential strong laners by themselves into this Sion pick.
And, this time, obviously, Absolute, with the different bot laners, they're going to have more of an AD carry-oriented team, potentially, as Zeri and Samira banned out, and Jinx being locked in. And this is much more like it for Absolute. If you're going to play weak side top lane, you want a strong bot lane. You don't want champions that are going to farm from a distance. And while Jinx obviously does take time to scale up, a lot more potent in these 2v2 and 3v3 fights with the lethal tempo, with the unlimited amount of damage you can put out, and now Ruby are going to have to react with potentially an Aphelios or a Kai'Sa here just to see what they're going to lock in. But it looks like they're going to pick their top laner first, which is the Set.
That's so good.
And, you know, I think out of the 3 matchups that our good friend Mercy Hawk has had, this will probably be the most forgiving, as now Ruby are deciding what to lock in as their AD carry.
You say most forgiving, but it's not like he didn't just pop off on Aatrox game 2 and did pretty well in Darius game 1. But yes, that's a great pick. All right, cool. You have Jinx there. Well, what if I just slam this giant tank right in your face? So I feel like that's a great pick beside of Ruby. As we see Rel, I have not seen Rel be played that often. She is a great way for a tank to go in there and lock everyone down. But again, she's kind of this I have to go in type champion. So
yes,
with that Seraphine, in the bot lane is, or were you thinking Seraphine? I was saying Seraphine APC, right, with Rel. So in that bot lane, it has strong CC potential lockdown. But this is hard because I love Absolute's draft here. It's better than it has been games 1 and game 2.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
But
it does play very much. Oh, sorry. Carry on. Finish your point, and then I will work off.
No. Go on. I'm thinking because I want to hear what your point on this is too.
Yeah,
I think your thoughts.
I think that the comp that Absolute this time has a lot better synergy for what they've been playing around and when they've been improving, which is Angry Cookie leading the team with a carry champion that can one-shot the backline, and that is exactly what Kha'Zix provides. It's what Graves provided in game 1, but they weren't allowed to get far enough ahead. But CB Ruby, Rel Seraphine is a very scary combo because Rel allows the ability to pull multiple champions into a spot for the Seraphine Encore, and that will lead to some massive team fights and follow-up damage from Set and Corki. So I do think that CB Ruby has a fantastic draft, but you know, we've said it every game this series so far, and I'll say it again, Eternal. It is down to the junglers. Can Lee Sin provide as much pressure as Kha'Zix? Or can Kha'Zix protect these laners for long enough for Jinx and Soraka to take over the game? Because at some point, Soraka will out-heal most of the damage done by this team.
Right, and it's the same thing we've spoken about. It's again up to these 2 junglers, right? If Kha'Zix gets ahead, it doesn't matter if you have a Seraphine Rel bot lane. He comes down, 3 shots, Seraphine. All right, she's gone. Well, Rel essentially useless by herself. So Jinx and Soraka can exchange tower damage. You kill her, and again, Corki. As long as you don't have Valkyrie up, he can come in and completely eliminate you. And again, Ahri into the pick. Reese's Cup has been, I think, doing well on Ahri, but I think he needs to exert dominance, and if not roam more, just sit in that mid lane and absorb some jungle pressure, because I think he's doing fine, right? It's just you're playing the same champion 3 games in a row. This is essentially a do or die for your team, so you need to essentially show why this was a comfort pick for you and actually just demonstrate your skill and pop off on her.
Yeah, Reese's Cup has definitely been performing consistently, but I'd say if you're prioritizing, because the first 2 games as well, and even in this 3rd game, Absolute have locked in Ahri as their first champion, which tells me if you are really that confident picking this champion up, that you should be able to dominate your lanes. And Kuma has done a fantastic job. The Lucian looked a little on edge at times, obviously not performing fantastically in that first game, but Ruby had the follow-up from everyone else, especially the top lane from Martial Arts for Yi taking over the game. In the second game, he rushed more of Malmortius, and Ahri couldn't touch him for the rest of the game. Obviously, you've got the Jinx for the extended pressure on that, not as effective as building it into Ziggs Ahri. But we'll have to see, because, you know, Kuma has been showing up and doing a fantastic job at dealing with this Ahri.
I still think CBR takes the series 3-0, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, I think if this was game 1, Eternal, I might say Absolute, because I really like the composition that they have drafted. But you have to factor in the players start to get tired, especially on the back of 2 losses in a row. They really have to recover their mental, and maybe, you know, subbing out the bot lane is actually a great way of recovering some of that mental energy. You bring in 2 fresh players who haven't played a game yet. They're ready, they're raring to go, and they haven't lost a game themselves. So, you know, their bot lane could really be the refreshing mental they need to swing this round. And honestly, when you're 2-0 up, you do start to get a little bit relaxed. So while I will say CB Ruby are going to take this game, I am very much excited to see if Absolute, with these two players exchanged, can actually, bring this back.
Right,
And if
change
they
it around,
get
right.
if they get the one, they could swing this to a 3-2.
Yeah, definitely, I can see that as well.
Perfect. And with that being said, we're going into game 3 of CB Ruby versus Absolute. So we'll be back in just a moment to give you the exciting third game.
It's all bang, bang, bloody bang.
And welcome back to Game 3 between Absolute Esports and CB Ruby. 2-0 for the side of CB Ruby as we go into this third game. Nothing too exciting early on. Hopefully this bot lane swap for Absolute will, again, give them the spark they need to essentially turn this into a reverse sweep.
Yeah, and you see martial arts for Yi already exerting a little bit of dominance. So I'm going to be able to recall, not anything too dangerous here. Do abuse. I'm just going to call them abuse. I think that's the best gamer name that I can give them. Maybe going to get a little bit of poke on the rail, but not finding anything just yet. And yeah, just a little bit of chilled start here. Everyone's scouting each other out. Obviously, Abuse knowing that Caddy is right in front of him, not giving away their position. And yeah, we are going to look for a bit of a spark from the bot lane here.
Yeah, and the interesting thing to note is negative win rate Zeri actually took Ghost instead of either, heal or barrier. And again, Soraka didn't take Ignite, took heal. So it's going to be interesting to see how this bot lane plays out. However, they should have an advantage because No Attack did take teleport on this Seraphine. So if you're the side of Kha'Zix, I feel like you have to essentially play bot side, make her burn that teleport in lane because essentially they don't have the same protection that a normal standard lane would.
And we see the Jinx having Ghost over Cleanse in this matchup, where you may get encored over and over again, is a little bit dangerous. And
And
nothing
she's so
too crazy.
tall.
Yeah, she's started cold, so very aggressive, or at least farm centric start for them, as she actually gets engaged on here and gets ignited. Caddy and No Attack going to be running her down. Has the double spell available here. You've got to use a Ghost or a Flash earlier, and No Attack flashing on top of negative win rate Zeri there, picking up the first blood, and No Attack showing off what happens when you give them the Seraphine, the double high note coming through, and a first blood for the side of Seraphine, and this is the power of Seraphine Brow.
And we just highlighted the fact that does not have, any kind of safe time spell for the Jinx, and they capitalize on it. So not only is No Attack feeling pretty confident on the Seraphine pick, which again, they already felt confidence while they were banning it in games 1 and 2, but you're allowing this lane to essentially just become a giant thorn in your side. We see Lee Sin gank mid.
Yeah, and a great war jump there as the Q comes through, the resonating strike finishing off the Ahri, and a good kill again. Enchanter making the play early on. Angry Cookie not able to trade anything back. And now Mercy Hawk taking some nice trading onto the set, being able to use his Haymaker just to nullify the tower damage. And we're seeing, after a great start of game 1 and 2, another great start in game 3 from the side of Ruby here.
Yeah, Ruby's doing a fantastic job. Good prediction by Enchanter to essentially get that squeeze, that little skill shot in as there's another gank potential.
Oh no, Angry Cookie, this is going to be devastating. Gets stunned up the resonating strike, able to follow him as he flashes away. But Enchanter going to be able to flash on top of him, as well as Angry Cookie just running for his life, trying to heal up as much as possible. Enchanter 2-0 already, as Angry Cookie was fighting for his life there.
Oh man, this game's feel like it's starting out bad and it's slowly progressively getting worse as Angry Cookie, one of the main playmakers, is down flash, down another kill, and Enchanter, again, this Lee Sin pick, 2 kills up, and that is a terrifying thing if you're the side of Absolute.
Yeah, and the Titan Destroyers, just pointing out that they 2-0'd Ruby last time they played against them. I feel like this is maybe a taste of their own medicine, as Lee Sin going to get charmed under the tower, able to use his shield to jump out there. And yeah, it's just so much pressure being exerted in every single lane once again. And the one lane that is sided potentially for Absolute in this early game, Enchanter doing such a fantastic job of just shutting it down completely.
Yeah, and you mentioned it earlier about the fact that they, beat Ruby. Absolute, for those watching, Absolute has been the only team this year to beat Ruby in a best of series. So the fact that they've already jumped out to this giant lead says something about how angry they are at this matchup, and they want to exert their dominance and show that not only are they a top 3 team, but they deserve to be in the finals.
Yeah, and they're putting on an absolute masterclass right now. I feel that they haven't really played the same champions other than maybe this Corki is. Now Angry Cookie looking for Kuma. Kuma does have Flash. He knows he's completely safe, and they know Lee Sin is floating about as well. So a great bot to kind of not continue that play. A bit unfortunate to not be able to trade anything back. But yeah, Kuma even poking out the Kha'Zix here, just showing him that he knows he's there. Angry Cookie maybe able to pick something up, but no, actually just going to keep walking. But Kuma, you may be in a bit of trouble here as he misses some of his ability. The Phosphorus Bomb goes a little bit wide. But yeah, Angry Cookie just fighting for scraps in the jungle right now.
Yeah, essentially, yes, to do that because we knew Lee Sin was on his top side camps as he might. No, I won't be able to kill him because he's a little too far in his turret. But yeah, they knew he was top side, so Angry Cookie has to invade his Raptors, and unfortunately, doesn't get all of them. So Lee Sin will get a couple more. But again, Enchanter is just great tracking game 2. And right, we had Nuno's up 3-0, comes with a wall of Zac, gets a nice shutdown. great tracking in Game 3, as I just feel like Enchanter has had his number this entire series.
Yeah, he definitely has, and Angry Cookie really starting to struggle a little bit, and you know, having the Lee Sin be 2-0 so early on, but no attack in a bit of trouble is Abuse looking to run them down. A flash comes through from Caddy, trading it out from Soroka there. Definitely positive for Ruby once again.
Yeah, you essentially a good flash for flash trade is, again, Cyan, you know, he's a little weak side, top side, as we see Lee Sin up there. Good vision control, see that he's up there. As Kha'Zix looks like he might potential pick on the Rel, decides against it. She's a little bit safe, as, again, this is what you have to do for Angry Cookie. Top side's doing okay, but you have to play around your bot side.
Yeah, I feel like putting the pressure on there is definitely a good idea. And Seraphine having the teleport, obviously allowing them back up. And now Enchanter taking some trades onto this top side. It is going to leave the Dragon open. And it looks like the side of Absolute are going to go for this and try and pick it up. And that's going to at least relieve a little bit of pressure in terms of objectives right now.
Yeah, I thought maybe they might want to dive him, but it is Science, so it's not exactly the best champion you want to dive, especially with his passive and being a giant zombie, as they do get the Dragon for the side of Absolute, and this is what you need. You need these small little windows of opportunity, as Kha'Zix is not going to take his red side jungle, is afraid of the collapse, so in response, Lee Sin gets to get the priority invade on Kha'Zix jungle, and again, just slowly putting Angry Cookie behind.
Yeah, and while he does obviously get the Dragon, it is very detrimental to lose his buff and not take up the enemies in return. And I think he knows that it's gone as well, because he's pathing towards the bot side jungle here. So gonna just accept that he's behind in this jungle and hope his laners can kind of carry him through. As Lee Sin hitting that level 6, we're gonna start looking for some exciting plays. It's when Lee Sin really gets himself into the best position. As now Caddy goes on top of the Jinx. The Encore comes through as well, and you have no cleanse, no heal, and with that Soroka, it's just not enough because you have been ignited. So another great pickup there. There's no attack being level 7 to Jinx's level 5. Just not enough to get out with that ghost.
Yeah, just not really enough. And also, I don't know if you're aware of this, Rob, but I did some stat pulls on negative win rate Zeri, and as far as the Otter power rankings go, she's not even in the top 80, which kind of hurts. Yeah, it kind of hurts.
Yeah.
So if you look at 16 teams in the league with 5 starters, that's 80 players. So it's saying of the 80 starters, negative win rate Zeri doesn't even crack the baseline. And then one of the teams has actually left the league as well. So that just kind of puts into perspective how much pressure is on this team and on this Jinx to perform for Game 3.
Yeah, and certainly not out of it yet. We've seen Jinxes be 0-2, 0-3 down before, come into the mid game, get excited, and blow these team fights apart.
Oh, absolutely.
But right now, it's not looking fantastic. Reese's Cup may be able to get a kill here, though, as he Spirit Rushes forward, ignites Kuma, and doesn't follow through with the final Spirit Rush, as actually picks him up the last tick of Ignite. Very nice there. Very calculated from Reese's Cup just to take that slowly. And he had me fooled, but he does manage to pick that kill up, as, you know, Corky this time not respecting the Ahri and getting the Hex Drinker and gets punished for it.
Yeah, they look for a bait. Oh, great traps.
Yeah, and a great trap there, and that's a super mega death rocket on top of the Soroka silence, meaning the attack had no chance to move. And great pickups there, but here comes Enchanter. Enchanter and Caddy walking down to the spot lane together, even in a 2v3, looking confident, doesn't hit the resonating strike, and that will be enough for them to just leave and back off.
That's great punish from the side of Absolute. You get the kill on Corky. You saw Rel was there in the mid lane. Well, there's no support for Seraphine bot. She needs some type of tanky support to protect her. So great collapse, way to pick it up. 2 kills to the side of Absolute, and this is what you need to essentially extend the series.
As now, Martial Arts for you, taking a trade onto Mercy Hawk. But Mercy Hawk, obviously weak side, but certainly not as weak as he's been in the previous games. And this is exactly what I said. It is by far, out of the 3 lanes that Mercy Hawk has played, the most forgiving for him, being tanky and set, not doing as much true damage as other champions, meaning that he's not going to be as good as Mercy Hawk flashes away here. But is he going to be able to trade back as Martial Arts for Yi runs for his life? No flash, but Mercy Hawk doesn't manage to catch him up. And just as I said it was forgiving, I cast a curse him, and Mercy Hawk goes down for the first time this game.
Yeah, it does go that first time as Jinx Rocket, maybe following it all the way through, and it
Oh.
oh, barely lives. Angry Cricket looks like he might pick up the kill potentially here.
Yeah, and it does look like he's going to pick up the kill. And at the same time, in this bot lane, the Rift Herald has been spawned. A good pickup there for Angry Cookie, and can anything else happen as the tower doesn't drop in the bot lane? So a good pickup overall, as obviously Sion does start to walk back to lane, but there's going to be a 3 versus 2 dive potentially here. Can Enchant and No Attack and Caddy make anything happen? No, they're just going to push down this tower as a teleport coming through from Sion here. So a 3-on-3, they're going to have to force the issue, as you've got Reese's Cut walking into this bot lane as well. Caddy taking the initial ultimate there, negative win rate. Zeri picking up the first one. They're going to be able to just walk out the other two, but Jinx now 2-2-0, and suddenly, talking about performance, right back into the game.
Oh, Kuma's a little caught out. The one he has no flash.
Has no flash. Valkyrie's away right now. Ari does have the Spirit Rush available, so he can't stay. She's going to Spirit Rush forward. No flash, no Valkyrie, and a great charm there. And Lee Sin flashing onto the Kha'Zix as well after landing a great Sonic Wave Resonating Strike combo. Meaning that Kha'Zix, the Angry Cookie, does go down, but great punishes and pickups from Absolute. And this is the life we were talking about, but a 3-man encore after a follow-up from Caddy there. Fantastic. And just as I said, they were coming back into this game. Ruby pull out a fantastic combo, and this is the tried and tested Magnet Storm into Encore. And oh my goodness, that looked just devastating.
Geez. That was so disgusting. But that's how this flat lane essentially works out in team fights. The unfortunate side is they didn't clear out all the vision, so they were tracking them the entire way. Caddy goes over the wall. Fantastic dive with her for a Shattering Strike into Magnet Storm, followed up again by the Encore, traps them inside, essentially just allows them this tight little choke point, and they just die 3 for 0 as well as a dragon. Oh, looks like he might be caught out.
A nice little cheeky play from Angry Cookie, but he does get ulted into the wall here. But martial arts for Yi looking like he might be in a bit of trouble. Where is he going to use this Haymaker? And there we go, it's used, but it's just not enough, as Reese's Cut picks up another kill. 3-1 this time. They're definitely taking that dominating lead in the mid lane like we were speaking about. So if you look at the gold, Eternal, 6,000 gold ahead. Well, it's just 8 and 6.
Yeah, and if you want some numbers by lane, so bot lane's 900, right? Mid lane is even. Jungle is right around 1900, almost 2000, which is pretty massive. But the top lane is what I want to focus the attention on. 2,100 gold for the side of Set. That's, again, they're playing weak side, but Set is not one of those champions. He gets his hull breaker where he is going to be strong by himself, so how do you kill this man later on?
Oh my
Burn
goodness,
damage, baby.
How clean are you today, Enchanter? He is angry. That is absolutely disgraceful from Enchanter. So clean, the ward hop into the kick over the wall just to fade away because he had the red smite and the red buff burning on Angry Cookie, and that is pure practice. You can tell how much he plays Lee Sin because that was just fantastic.
And smart as well, because with the Executioner's Calling, even if Kha'Zix was able to heal a little bit with his Void Spikes, it doesn't matter because the Executioner's Calling will actually eliminate that on top of red buff burn. So yeah, fantastic solo kill for Simon Channer, and again, I feel like he has been the MVP in this series so far, showing why he is the #1 player for the league, for at least the jungle is concerned, but again, the #1 player for decision making in these games and overall the series.
Yeah, and he is putting on a masterclass for everyone to watch tonight, as obviously he just continues to take over this game. He's got so much pressure because it's really struggling to match him right now, but looking for a play on the Corki, gonna Valkyrie away, and now Enchanter is here turning up. A teleport comes through as well from the Corki, making Angry Cookie run away. That's not too bad, as actually Rel jumps over the wall, Magnet Storm comes in, and the Encore flies through, hitting the Kha'Zix, picking up the kill. Angry Cookie 1-4 right now, so not not having the best of games. And we talk about this jungle focus throughout the series, and it really is Enchanter just showing us what he can do.
Yeah, and at this point, he's almost getting Horizon flamed at the moment, and that just does not feel well if you're the jungler for the side of Absolutes. Again, at least you gotta kill turret mid lane, get some gold in your pocket. But yeah, going up 7,000 gold 16 minutes in just feels like this giant waterfall you have to swim up to essentially just barely survive. You see Lee Sin going in on the Scion.
Yeah, and a fantastic two-man kick here as now Rel flashing onto Jinx. And, you know, not able to do too much as Caddy does look like he's going to go down. You should definitely give this over to Jinx, but no, Kha'Zix ends up picking it up. And now Martial Arts for Yi engaging, but not in a great position as Jinx is running down multiple members. Gets a shutdown onto the Lee Sin. Doesn't even get taken down as she's excited, takes a double kill. Reese's Cut picking up the set as well. And every time we count Absolute out, they disgrace the enemy team and take down another member. A great flash from Kuma here, but Jinx is coming, and this could be an ace. She's got the Kraken Slayer. One more shot, and a zap will do it as the zap connects, and now Kuma is going to get taken down as well, most likely. Is he able to trade things out using Vision to his advantage? No, that is it. Jinx taking down the Corki as well, and not an ace. Everyone has respawned, but a 5-kill dinger there for the side of Absolute, bringing the game to 11-11.
Not only did you get 5 kills, not only did you let Jinx get 1,000 gold shutdown Lee Sin, you gave her 3 kills for no reason. You dove way too deep, Absolute, or CB Ruby. You don't need to do that. They fought in this choke point, and Zeri, again, Ghost actually being pivotal in that fight, using Flash to reposition himself, Ghost to chase them down. The initial wave on top of Encore and Magnet Storm was not there. Rel goes down early, followed by Lee Sin. Says essentially stuck in a 1v3, goes down, and now Jinx is online with Kraken Slayer as well as completing Cole and has a rapid fire cannon, so she is here to dominate the game.
And this is exactly what Absolute need if the Jinx can continue to scale and keep pulling them into this game, with the Corki nowhere near strong enough to create a lot of pressure like they did in the previous game. Kuma is going to struggle to deal with this Jinx, and without that it seems like they could be in a bit of trouble, but they're going to back off this tower here, respecting the fact that there are 4 middle and they're not fully prepared, as now Jinx starts to fire at these rockets, and you can see the range with this rocket rapid fire cannon plus the rockets. It is excessive.
Yeah, this game essentially pivots on whether or not negative win rate Zeri can just deal damage by herself, because if she gets CC locked, well, there kind of goes there any hope for essentially winning. But as long as she can stay free and mobile, she can pump out damage. If she can pump out damage, she can win these team fights. So it's going to be pivotal on where her positioning is, but also fallout from her team can they capitalize and making her safe.
A surprising amount of pressure being put into this top side right now. No Rift Herald to be taken, obviously. Not wanting negative win rate Zeri to get this red buff. It is a big spike for Jinx to have slows in her kit on every auto attack, and the Rift Herald being wasted as well for Ruby, so maybe feeling a little bit of pressure now from just a moment ago completely dominating, to now being in a position where maybe they can't win this game.
Potentially. I mean, I still feel like it's still in, CB's court to just dictate how this game goes. But if they keep overextending or they make small mistakes, it's not like Absolute's going to roll over and play dead and let you take the series 3-0. So CB has to just kind of reprioritize and focus a little bit. Excel at what you're doing well on, which is essentially getting picks through Rel and Seraphine, locking people up. Maybe you get a flash kick on Enchanter, goes backside. Okay, you shut down Jinx. You can potentially look at Baron, but without these pick potential, team fights have to be played front to back.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. And see, Angry Cookie scouting out once again here, starting to come back into the game himself. Only 1 level down now. Obviously, still a lot of gold behind, but going to be able to at least be a reasonably good source of damage for the time being, and allowing Jinx more time to gain some pressure as well, as Mercyhawk also doing an okay job. So This is by far the most close game we've seen after this time period. I guess the first game was pretty similar, but Reese's Cup actually in a bit of trouble now as he spirit rushes away. He's got 3 members chasing him. Can Absolute get to them in time? But no, they decide to abandon that and kill the Seraphine. Soroka does pick that up, but Reese's Cup goes down in return. And now are they going to fight? The Seraphine not being there means Rel is significantly weaker without that encore.
Well, the thing is, they're giving up. They got 4 people. They have members. They see Set's bot side. You knew Corki was top side, but yeah, they're still just not unsure, the uneasiness, so they're gonna back off on this.
Yeah, all it takes is one kick from Lee Sin to really mess them up. But here you go. You see Rel jumping over the wall. The Baron being aggroed right there just to make Rel take a bit of extra damage. And the Absolute are really starting to find their feet. And yeah, well, it is definitely in Ruby's favor, obviously being 6,000 gold ahead still. You can see Absolute really starting to find some momentum here.
Oh yeah, right. It's not like in game 2 where it's almost completely over by this midway point. They're slowly clawing their way back and they're fighting. They want to fight. They know that this is their last chance to continue the series, essentially go to a 4th game, potentially 5th game. So this is what you need to do. You need to have the resolve and the essentially the due diligence to play to your strength side, which is keep Jinx safe, kill him up with Soraka, and again, if you don't kill Soraka early, it's going to be a huge issue just with the amount of potential healing she has. So I think for Jinx, you might want to look at potentially a QSS just in case, you know, Magnet Storm or Set grabs you. But again, that's on the players themselves. Maybe she doesn't feel that confident and she's looking to get more damage with that BS sword be picked up.
Yeah, and, you know, definitely something to think about as well. And also, just got to remember that whilst Lee Sin did have the healer reduction, it has actually sold it now. And you've got Seraphine with that Chemtech Putrefier going to be providing healing reduction. But Soraka does have the ability to remove all grievous wounds with her ultimate wish. So there is kind of a bit of wasted gold there if they're not careful. As now Sion with the Unstoppable Onslaught coming through onto Enchanter. Doesn't manage to hit them. And a great 2-person Magnet Storm into a follow-up Encore. But well played, Zeri does manage to flash out. But it's not going to be enough as Enchanter kicks him back into the team. And without Jinx there, it is all falling apart. Enchanter doing so much damage. Reese's Cup running for their lives. Just going to get Missile Barrage down as the big one comes through. And now Mercy Hawk is running away. Dodges the Sonic Wave. And that's going to be enough for them to grab this 3rd dragon. As Ruby, once again, when they start commanding these team fights and take the initiative, they really do make it work.
And we've spoken about it once, and we've spoken about it again, and we'll continue to speak about it. These choke points are such the do or die for the side of Absolute. Again, they find Kha'Zix, they try and get away. A good, essentially, flash by Zeri to reposition herself, but at least Sin on Enchanter does not want her to be free. And, well, Jinx goes down, Ahri goes down. There goes a large amount of the damage you have from the side of Absolute. Cookie is not in position to essentially solo shot anybody. So by removing these 2 main points of contention, you lose these fights as they start on the Baron.
Yeah, and now they're just looking to go onto Angry Cookie, keep him way out of the pit. Between Kha'Zix and Lee Sin, it's always a toss-up. You never know who would be able to steal the Baron away. They both have a lot of damage against monsters in their kit, and now Corki packages into multiple members, gets instantly taken down here, but the Jinx drops to the Lee Sin as well. Reese's Cup running for his life. Mercy Hawk taking so much damage from the package, and that ends up being a 2-for-1 trade. The Corki going down, so they're not going to be able to take the Baron very quickly without that extra damage. But Jinx and Soraka taken down in that fight with a great set ultimate there. The showstopper dropping onto multiple people.
Yeah, and that should be Baron. I mean, Kha'Zix will try to look, but Caddy should play a little bit of disengage. There she goes in, and
yeah, just
it's not too much,
out.
but I mean, the Baron's still alive. They're taking it kind of slow at the moment.
Yeah, and you see Caddy really just providing some great stuff here, but maybe a bit of an overextension as now Reese's Cup is here. Does manage to jump in with Enchanter, and Mercy Hawk getting taken down. Cookie is there as well. Mercy Hawk has to get something to go with his passive, but nothing happens as now they're back in the pit. This is Cookie's chance. No attack, tanking up. The Super Mega Death Rocket does drop, and now Jinx is on fire, gets excited, manages to take down 2, gonna run around the side, has no ghost and no flash, but if they are able to get more kills, this could be detrimental. You have to get out with these Baron buffs. Reese's Cup has the Spirit Rush available, you've got to use it, chase them down. As Kha'Zix behind them as well, Angry Cookie, just don't let them recall. This is your chance, a good charm there onto the set. The silence comes through as well. Does manage to take down the set. Now Cookie's there. The Lee Sin is very strong there, but Zeri is running forward. Gets 2. The charm comes forward onto Enchanter. The Dragon's Rage not available. Does get rooted up, but he's so strong. Gonna jump back in potentially here as well. No. Soraka obviously showing how much healing there is. Reese's Cup healed back to almost full HP. Is now no attack. Is looking to run them down. Decides to back off. As, oh my goodness, Eternal, every time the game looks like it's going one way, somebody else just pulls it out, and this time it's Absolute doing a fantastic job.
There's a lot to unpack right there. Seraphine unfortunately goes down early in the fight. They don't have the overall damage like Kraken Slayer Jinx can provide, so of course it's kind of taking their time. Corki, they don't want to burst it too soon because they know Kha'Zix's over the wall, but at that point they essentially win the smite fight. Great job by Enchanter taking it away so Angry Cookie can't get it, but the aftermath, right? Jinx can get a couple more kills, they get a couple more resets. Seraphine essentially burns teleport to go topside to help their team out. Unfortunately, Kha'Zix does go down. Unfortunately, Jinx then goes down afterwards, and Reese's cannot find the kill on Lee Sin. And after all of that, 9,000 gold lead separates these teams 28 minutes in the game.
And it's just 1 minute to this Infernal Dragon. And for the side of Ruby, it will be Infernal Soul if they manage to secure this. So a lot of pressure coming straight back to Absolute right here. They gonna feel that they need to contest this dragon. But Angry Cookie already taking a bit of poke from the Missile Barrage there. So it's going to be difficult, especially we spoke about this, and like you said, we'll speak about it again and again. Ruby have control of this dragon and the choke points before the fight has started.
Right, and you already see him setting up. You know they have to be in there, so they have to get vision control. And essentially, you see set top side. Corky's not there yet, so there you go.
And Caddy misses a jump over the wall. This could be a good pick as Mercy Hawk pushing himself forward, just zoning out multiple members. There's no package here as Martial Arts for Yi almost going to get taken down by the Jinx, and Kuba takes down Mercy Hawk, but does Jinx get a chance to get into the fight? The Kraken Slayer is running down slowly. The Super Mega Death Rocket doing next to nothing. A bad encore there, missing the Jinx, but in return does manage to pick up the Soraka, and without the Soraka there is no healing. Caddy gets taken down, and now Jinx's Kraken Slayer is all they have left. You've got to do as much as you can here, Jinx, because without you, the game is over. And they flash on top of the Jinx. She gets excited, manages to get out as Angry Cookie pulls Lee Sin away from Jinx just to keep them alive. But is they going to be able to do enough? Angry Cookie gets taken down. Martial Arts for Yeet running down the Jinx as well. That's going to be Infernal Toll for Ruby.
And that was so close. Unfortunately, Mercy Hawk just barely misses. So they essentially gets 0 knockups out of that result. But yeah, Unstoppable Onslaught finding 0 on that. They find the Encore side of no attack on the Seraphine. And good attempt by Absolute. Almost had enough for negative Boomerang Zeri on the Jinx to deal damage. But again, they take the Mountain Soul, or not Mountain Soul, excuse me, take the Infernal Soul, 9,000 gold up. Or kind of jumped the balloon to 12,000 after, as I just said that. And yeah, for the side of Ruby, this Lee Sin pick has just been the answer, the thorn in the side of Absolute, as now Set picking up Titanic Hydra, so he's going to be shoving out these solo waves by himself, and yeah, that small window of opportunity is starting to look very bleak if you're the side of Absolute.
Yeah, an Absolute now. They have to go for the Elder Dragon flip. I feel like it's their best way to get back into this game is just to stall for as long as possible. Don't take any deaths or any fights for the next 5 minutes, and just try their best to get a steal on this Elder Dragon. You can see Jinx, she has the damage, almost 4 items completed now, and she'll have that Lord Dominic's Regard by the time the dragon comes up. And if she gets the Elder Dragon, she may be able to just 1v5 a fight and end the game. But it does come down to whether CB Ruby can make any plays in the next 5 minutes and secure themselves a win, and whether Absolute actually manage to steal this dragon away from CB Ruby.
Yeah, that's essentially what it boils down to, right? You just mentioned it, and we'll say it again. Dragon Flip is what they have to play for, or Elderism is what they play for. If they win the flip, you get the Jinx resets, Ari resets, you can essentially chase them down, get an ace, potentially look for a game ending. I don't think they will be able to just because of the amount of towers available on the map. But if you're the side of Ruby, you don't want that to happen. So you have this 4 minutes and 20-second window for your team to close the game out.
And obviously it's all about playing around the Jinx right now. She has Ghost up in about 30 seconds, so we'll have a bit of mobility, and obviously this is where Ghost does start to become better and better in comparison to the likes of Heal and Ignite, which do very little at this point in the game, especially when you have full healing reduction from the Seraphine, and it's just whether they can stall this out for long enough. The Jinx has completed Lord Dominic's Regard right now. She is really going to be hurting Set and Lee Sin and Rao, who all are high HP targets.
Yeah, that Lord Dominic will pay dividends, but it looks like they're trying to look for a pick. They know Baron's up in 3 seconds, so will they take these cheeky little bushes, get the little... Yeah, no, they're playing through the wave. Smart, that's what you have to do.
Very smart, not allowing CB Ruby to abuse vision, not going to let Rel step too far forward, but the Corki, you see how much damage he does even to Mercy Hawk, who is building pretty much full tank. And the healing coming through from the Seraphine as well. The charm misses onto martial arts for Yi. And this fight here is going to really dictate how the game goes. So I have to see, as it looks like Ruby are going to look to start up this Baron.
Yeah, and I don't think you can test it just out of absolute. If you lose more than 3 members, the game is over.
Yeah, and we will have to see what happens. Is obviously you do have the Jinx starting to step forward right now. You've got a silence from Soroka as well, so there is the potential for a steal. But Cookie can't get anywhere near the pit as well. And just to point out, Corki does have the package as Caddy jumps over the wall. The Super Mega Death Rocket comes through just to provide some damage, try and provide some poke. Soroka is starting to heal up everyone just a little bit, so the fight is going in the way of absolutely, as Jinx gets reset after reset. The Encore missing Jinx as well, and now she is taking over. She's excited. She's gotten 3 kills. They do not get the Baron here, but it is enough as No Attack going to get taken down as well. May die to the burn, and Chance doing a fantastic job there of getting himself through. And can he outplay multiple members here? As now it does look like Cookie may go down, but the healing is not enough. And how many more can he get? Enchanter is able to heal up. The Gordrinker comes through, taking out Eagle as well. He is 1v5ing right now as he decides to jump out. And oh my goodness, Enchanter, you can't be doing that. That's cyberbullying, Eternal. It's cyberbullying.
Oh my lord, this dude just came in and said, well, my team died. Okay, I can 1v5. I got this. Watch me. And he just instantly by himself 1v5's escape, gets 3 kills under his belt, and it is proving why he is the #1 jungler in all of Platinum Division, and proving why he has the most deaths in the game, and the most kills per game, and least amount of deaths per game. 16, 1, and 8 on this Lee Sin in Game 3, a 24 KDA. Absolutely bonkers. And he is just, this is literally his game to lose at this point.
Yeah, and that was absolutely fantastic. You see the power of the Vamp that you get from the Maw of Malmortius. You have the Death Dance as well, providing you with so much extra healing every time you get a takedown. And with the Triumph as well, you see how much he was healing, but so much. And oh my goodness, just when you thought that maybe Absolute had just stolen the game away, Enchanter has done a fantastic job of keeping his team way in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, no, at this point, like I said, it's Elder's up in 30 seconds, so this could be the Elder flip potential. But if you're the side of CB, just stall. You have an entire wave bot sec and the game on.
Martial arts for Yi is engaging. A good stopwatch there from the Jinx is going to allow them to take down martial arts for Yi, and this is exactly what we spoke about. Now they just need to find their way in. This time Corgi has no package, doing good damage to the Jinx here. But yeah, they have the, oh my goodness, a big one comes out, and you see Soroka to try and heal everyone up as a Magnet Storm comes through. Is the Encore going to be used? No, Jinx is just DPSing from the side, and they're playing front to back fantastically here, but Enchanter flashes and kicks Zeri into the backline, but she's just taking over. as she takes down 2 members there, as no attack gonna get taken down as well. A quadra kill for the for the Seraphine, but Jinx picks up a triple as well. There's just 1 member of each team left alive, but Enchanter looking significantly healthier.
Yeah, and they're so close in these fights. Great usage of the Encore by No Attack, holding onto it for the absolute last moment. And unfortunately, hey, I mean, quadra kill for the side of No Attack, but good kills for the side of Absolute on negative win rate theory on this Jinx. And this game isn't over yet. Elder Dragon is still on the table, so expect one more team fight between these two teams to decide the series.
Yeah, and the inhibitor for Absolute has just respawned. That is going to relieve so much pressure as they look to contest this dragon once again. Last time they had to be concerned about this mid wave, and now they have the freedom to push it out and not worry about it coming into their base at super quick speed. But if Absolute lose one more fight, it will be enough for the side of Ruby to end this in a 3-0, but they certainly are not giving up as we see them just start to make their way over to this dragon, probably just realizing it wasn't taken in that last fight. So we're going to have to see if anything comes of this as we start to see Lee Sin and Rel posturing to pick up Mercy Hawk. And if they can take down the Ahri here, it could be massive. But Kuma getting engaged on by Angry Cookie, and this is such a massive pickup as now Kuma using that stopwatch and gonna back off the Super Mega Death Rock, comes through, no attack, using his shielding. And yet now Kha'Zix has to run for his life. Can Angry Cookie get out? Of course he can. You've got Soroka there as well. And they're just looking. You can see they're smelling out and feeling out this Jinx. And it's a 4v5 right now. Someone's going to have to answer the set in just a moment.
Yeah, like I say, Mercy Hawk's gonna go back, but you need to contest this drag. You need your members there. You don't win this in a 4v4.
I mean, you can't leave a
Oh no,
Heartbreaker.
Jinx.
Oh no, a big encore onto the Jinx there, and getting pulled in by the Magnet Storm as well, and that is going to be game ending. You've got Set in the base, dominating the Scion at the same time. Everybody drops from the side of Absolute, and what a fantastic effort they put in today. It's so unfortunate that that encore just clipped the Jinx in the end there. Very well played from Ruby, picking up a 3-0 victory this week against what I would call their rivals, Absolute.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, the games were very. Game 3 was much closer than we saw games 1, game 2 at the very least. It's just unfortunate that in these choke points, right, the Magnet Storm Encore just constantly locking down members time and time again. Enchanter looked great the entire series, finding that Lee Sin pick for game 3, just absolutely popping off on it. And yeah, I mean, it's so close. Absolutely had such potential to essentially come back and win this game, but
Mm-hmm.
uh man, it's. Uh, I feel like absolutely had potential. It's just unfortunate that the way the series fell 3-0 is the way that the series fell in favor of CB Ruby.
Yeah, and I said to you at the beginning of this game, if this was their draft from Absolute in the first game, I feel this series could have gone entirely differently. I feel, just they didn't play to their strengths as much as they didn't. You saw even with Angry Cookie falling behind, it just they played so much better in this third game in terms of consistency, allowing their bot lane to actually create pressure and create damage within these team fights, and they were so close to doing such a fantastic job. But very well played from Ruby, and their drafting have been fantastic throughout. Their jungler showing what a powerhouse he is in the jungle and putting on a masterclass for Absolute to learn from this week.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I feel like in my opinion, MVP for the entire series. I think
Yeah.
Enchanter did a great job. Um, Counter ganks in game 2 on Zac, interrupting Nunu, shutting down the gold, getting them ahead. Game 1 Karthus, right? We saw it with the first strike, Requiem constantly getting free gold. Essentially, there was one time where Ari had just got out of Fountain, he did 1,000 damage to her, and she had to recall again just to get health.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I think he's played the entire series extremely well, and that was one of the main points of contention we had argued about was going to be Enchanter and Angry Cookie from the side of Absolute. These are the main 2 points of propelling their team ahead, and we saw how it played out when one of them got ahead and got ahead early.
Yeah. And yeah, I think fantastical round, and obviously my team, CB Ruby, progressing to the next round. So well done them. But also, thank you so much for giving us such a fantastic showing. Absolute, you've been so great to cast and watch, especially the past couple of weeks. We've both had the pleasure of watching and casting you. So thank you to both teams for participating. Congratulations, Ruby, for progressing. And I just want to say, as always, thank you to the production team for being so fantastic, as always, keeping us on our toes and making sure we're doing our jobs. Thank you, Eternal, always as well, for casting with me and making my life a hell of a lot easier because I just like shouting at things. And thank you to everyone for watching. And make sure you just tune in to Blue Otter League with CB Rush, who are obviously Ruby's competitors, currently 2-0 themselves. So just tune in there and watch out. And I'll let Eternal finish us off.
Thank you everyone coming out tonight to watch these two teams play between CB Ruby and Absolute Esports. Thank you again, Ra, for being my play caster. I really appreciate. I forget names of certain abilities, so thank you for bailing me out in that regards. Thank you again for production. Thank you again for Sneaky for essentially putting it on with us tonight. Thank you, Chat, for coming out. And next week we will see CB Ruby again face off against the winner of Undying against CB Cloud Drake. So we'll be, or not CB Cloud Drake, excuse me, Cloud Drake Gaming. So it'll be interesting to see which team makes it out. But until then, that'll be at 8 Eastern Standard Time next week. So I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend and be well rested. And join us back again next week for the semifinals of the Platinum League for Blue Otter.
Make the ground shake.